Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us for another Roll Together RPG show at twitch.tv/D&D and twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg. I am George. I use he, him pronouns, and I will be your DM for the next 3 hours or so, up to 3 hours of wonderful D&D. So what is D&D? I mean, at this point, if you don't know, we're happy to educate you, but you can go back and watch any of our previous shows and sort of catch up to the how and why and who of what created this situation. But if you want to follow along for now, D&D is a tabletop role-playing game. Each of these people around me are playing a character in a shared fantasy universe. I, on the other hand, as the ominously titled Dungeon Master, will be playing everything else. So the other characters, the other creatures they may meet, the sort of strange places, I will generally be describing situations, asking them how they react, what they want to do, and we will go from there. Often that involves rolling dice. Most commonly when we're talking about that, we mean rolling a d20, which is a 20-sided dice. High numbers, good, low numbers, bad. More sophisticatedly than that, they each have a character sheet, which is a kind of statistical representation of the things their character is good and bad at. So they might be particularly strong or particularly smart or trained in particular skills or have like powerful spells that do specific things. When they want to do one of those things, they'll look at the character sheet. If we're rolling dice, they usually add a number or subtract a number if they are bad at something from that result, and we see what happens. Yes, that's the short version. I don't have anything else to say about that. So it's just quickly, like, save me, introduce yourselves, please, players, starting with Nat.
Hello, I'm Nat. I play Valka Heartsong. We both use she, her pronouns. Valka is a human barbarian. She's a lady in her later life, bringing all that good big grandma energy to the team. She needs to bring something, because she's certainly not bringing the damage. Historically, but actually that's good because it's playing into her concerns that actually she's a little out of her depth here, and everyone around her is somehow amazing and powerful, and she's there. Although she did help Viorica learn how to make an excellent cup of tea last episode,
the
so
important thing.
Something.
Grandma skills.
Niall, please.
Hello, I'm Niall, formerly known as the Space Cowboy. I play Barda Tana, who uses she, her. I myself use he, him. And Barda's getting a bit more like into this again, I think, after sort of the personal development and growth that's come through this adventure. I hope you've watched the other episodes, otherwise this will make no sense. But after all the personal growth, she's kind of ready to get back on to, dungeon delving, finding something to stab and getting this artifact out of here before the hedge mage closes on all of us and we're all trapped in a fear. We'll be okay.
Chin up, yeah. I mean, it's probably fine. Ed?
Hello, my name's Ed. I use he, him pronouns, as does my character Viorica Yordash, who, as has already been said, has learned how to make a cup of tea. So I feel like his quest is done. That's all he needed to learn.
Solid arc right there.
That's everything he needs. But yes, he's getting used to these sort of plant-based surroundings. He's very, very much out of his depth here, but that's what he was looking for, which is good. And he just, hopes he can survive.
Marvelous, thank you. Rebecca.
Hi, I am Rebecca. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Veracity Tallow, who also uses she, her pronouns. Veracity is a gnome druid of the wildfire variety. She sets fire to things. Sometimes cheerfully, sometimes sulkily, sometimes sadly, sometimes angrily, but generally she sets fire to things.
The emotional wheel of flame, I think, is... Right, well, perfect, thank you. Yeah, G.
Hi, I'm G. I use he, him pronouns, and I play 355, who uses they, them pronouns. And 355 is currently just sort of a bit totally bewildered because they've come across this, predecessor to themselves that they didn't know existed. And I was, already a bit kind of confused and put back, or not on edge, that's the wrong word, but just generally a bit weirded out by this whole weird place. And so, it's taking each moment as it comes currently, I think.
Cool. Probably going to shape up well, I think. Thank you all. So yeah, stream will run for about 3 hours. There'll be a break in the middle, approximately. It'll be slightly fluffy as to where exactly that falls because this is all effectively improvised, but we will give you a break at some point. Before we get to the action, we have to talk about our lovely sponsors and supporters, and I'm delighted to report this week that we have a new sponsor. To check out the magnificent Elderwood Academy, who are the premium purveyors of bespoke gaming-themed gear, including hex chest dice boxes, spellbook deck boxes, and rolling trays, disguised as bespoke ancient arcane tomes, and scroll and codex dice towers, rolling tray pairings. So you can find all of their magnificent stuff, and it's so cool at elderwoodacademy.com. Thank you very much for sponsoring us. Next up, we have Hero Forge, purveyors of these quite magnificent custom miniatures. I have one here that we have made of Veracity Tallow, our very own. We do have a new thing today. You can probably already see it on the screen, but we have the 3D model versions of all of our miniatures for our characters on the screen next to them. So you can get a really good look at the things that we have made with Hero Forge, and there should be some nice animations throughout when we get to, if we get to encounters where turn tracking comes, we will be animating them and highlighting them so you can see whose turn it is at a glance. Yes, Hero Forge supports a wide variety of styles and different game systems. Obviously, this is all quite fantasy themed D&D, but they do modern day stuff, science fiction, clockworky, steampunky. They're constantly expanding, giving you both more awesome and some sometimes quite strange options so you can make really interesting and unique character designs. So you can build your characters from your own games, you can build NPCs or just like characters you want to see out in the world. Head over to heroforge.com to use their building tool and check out our Meet the Character series on YouTube, where you can see us building the characters from this show with each of the players. We're also sponsored by Ultrapro. Ultrapro are all about a different side of the physical tabletop. So for D&D, that means dice. I've got my lovely metal dice. Metal antique dice. You've got character sheet wallets, card sleeves if you use things like spell cards or condition cards. You can use them with board games if you want systems to organize your components. You can find all of this at ultrapro.com. Oh yes, I've also got one of the figurines of Adorable Power, Grumpus the Gazer. We will be giving something away in chat, but keep an eye on the chat and look what the moderator is saying to see exactly what and how you can win it. I think it just involves participating in chat, so please do check that out. We are also pleased to be supported by D&D Beyond. On the left of the screen, which I think is over here, you should be excited to flip around. Yes, thank you, flashing the magnificent player character app. Yes, over on the left you can see the character sheets for the players. You can see what class they are, what their background is, their skills, all the sort of mechanical stuff we were talking about earlier. All the characters stay at level 8, by the way. And throughout we'll be using various D&D Beyond tools, probably not necessarily visibly on the stream, but our character sheets and the encounter trackers and such from them. So thank you, D&D Beyond. We are also very pleased to be supported by Level Up Dice. I have the appropriately named table shakers, these big chunky D percentile that I can throw around and shake my screen. It's good for a screen shake effect at dramatic moments. Maybe I should just slam them down. One of their lovely oversized D20s. It's harder to tell because these are just so massive that you don't really have to, but this is my normal D20 and that's that. We are also supported by Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, which is a licensed D&D strategy management video game. Yes, we have a code on the screen. You can, I think it's at the bottom, look down, all the way down. There should be a chest code there for this week's chest. You can type ! code in chat to get that as well and ask the mods if you need more information. We are also supported by Warriors of Waterdeep, which is an official tactical team-based dungeon adventure mobile game for Dungeons & Dragons. If you enjoy Idle Champions, you'll probably enjoy Warriors of Waterdeep and vice versa. We have 2 codes for Warriors of Waterdeep. You can type ! Warriors of Waterdeep, in fact, to get the link to download it. And you can type ! WOW gems, WoW gems, to get a code for some gems for the game. Both of those should be at the bottom of the screen, so they should be visible throughout the show if you're just joining us. We are on social media. We are on social media everywhere as Roll Together RPG, so you can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on Patreon, which I don't know if qualifies as a social network, but we are there because we have a lovely Patreon supported by our magnificent Roll D20 Club. So thank you very much for supporting us. If you want to join them, head over to patreon.com/rolltogetherrpg. You can see our support tier and join and help promote the show, help build it, and we'll build up towards more reward tiers and things that rewards like unlocking a community Discord. So please do go and check that out. The show is also available as a podcast, so you can use your preferred podcasting app and search for Roll Together RPG. There it is, and subscribe to get this show and the other shows we do. So if you want to catch up, if you are wanting to listen to other shows, that's a good way of doing it. If you are more of an audio person, or at the mythical time when everyone's commuting or walking around or cycling, then you've got access to that. Yes, great. Finally, we play with a diverse group of players who play a diverse set of characters with wide-ranging sexual and gender identities. Our tables are trans-positive, and we encourage and champion trans players and characters in our games. The DM and players may portray characters that are of a different gender to their own, and we do aim to avoid misgendering, but acknowledge that it does sometimes happen, and we have a company policy in place for correcting people on pronouns. If we miss an instance of misgendering, we are open to being corrected, so please do let us know in the chat or one of the channels I mentioned previously, and we will look to rectify that in the future. And with that, we are finally ready for another week of mystery and adventure in Seekers of Elturel Buried. Previously on Seekers of Elturel Buried, the party traversed the Hedge Maze, a lost demi-plane that once formed part of the Feywild. As the war between its two rulers, Drusilla the Conservator and Rack and Ruin, escalated, the monarchs of Faerie put an end to the conflict, decreeing that the Hedge Maze should be sealed off and left adrift through the Cosmoverse. Or so the party believe, based on what they have learned so far, both before and after coming to this place. They have come here at a rare moment where the demiplane is in reach of the prime material, seeking the Constant, an artifact of great power and apparently some historical significance. With them is Torsten Brittleask, a dwarven academic, and a warforged named 119, a precursor to their own 355. It seems that 355 creator partnered with the party's employer before. A few hundred years ago, they conspired to send 119 to the Hedge Maze alone, also to seek the Constant. So why did none of them mention that small detail this time around? After much journeying, the party has reached the outskirts, the outside of the Temple of the Watcher, which is the place that is said to hold the Constant itself. They are here, they hope, ahead of their rival and Barda's former lover, Darvax Crowbeard, and his crew. If you're going what, who, when, for the love of Lathander, how, all these names, any of these names and concepts, you can find all of our previous episodes and do so. But even if you don't, keep along for the ride as the party prepare to descend into the Temple of the Watcher. So we left it last time. You were literally looking down. So just to set the scene a little more, because that was, I feel that was the sort of the catch up on who the heck are all these people kind of scenario. But we left it last time. You had reached the edge of this giant flower, like a field-sized flower that sort of resembles a real-world Rafflesia or literal corpse flower, not in the Dungeons and Dragons sense of a corpse flower, with a great hole in the middle, which you've kind of looked down. The sort of I don't know, I can't remember if you looked down specifically how far it was, but I can give you that information now. It's about 100 feet down to a stone floor within it. You had camped the night here and are kind of getting ready to proceed. What's everybody doing at this point? You don't have to go diving straight down the hole because there's some stuff that we're going to talk about. But what is? I'll do a quick round and see how what everyone is feeling at this literal cliff edge and what the immediate plan is. So I'll go around the group and just sort of tell me what you're doing, and we'll divvy up and come back and work out what's what. Starting with Valka.
Yeah, I don't know really. Just general prep, I guess. I think we'd established that because we used our rope on the bridge.
You used two of your
Not all of it. Yeah, thank God we kept some of the rope.
So I guess if there's rope tie-in to be done, she's probably helping out with that.
Okay. So getting the gear sorted out.
Yeah,
sensible. Barda?
Oh, I think Barda's straight up with Valka. They're both heaving some rope, getting those knots right. A Windsor knot, is that a thing? I don't know.
That is a thing, but I think it's what you're
Tied.
ties, yeah.
You know what I want to know for climbing.
You're going to look so sharp when you get down there. when you hit the bottom at speed. Other V's. Viorica.
Viorica is, because of the connection he has with his god, this place is very difficult for him because it doesn't have a dawn, and therefore there is no time to celebrate. And thinking about it, because I've just remembered, I think he's just remembered. And therefore he's thinking that, he's thinking, I need to get this in at some point, and I guess I can choose when the dawn is if there isn't a dawn. And so he's, as it were, going to go off a little way and sing the praises of Lavender.
Right.
Until presumably someone says, maybe you don't want to advertise our presence, like either go much further away or stop. That's what I'm imagining will happen. Oh, really? No? All right. So he's going to go and sing quietly in a clearing.
Definitely come back to that.
Sing into a hedge.
Yeah, just muffling it into the hedge, yeah. Veracity, what are you doing?
Veracity, I think, is very nervously conjuring just produce flame again and again and again in the palm of her hand, staring at it, trying for the life of her to follow Nokel's advice and seed the stone in it. Might be important.
Yeah.
She can't find it. It just looks like fire.
355. What are you doing while ever like? What is your personal?
I think they would have tried to, probably not with much hope of actually be successful, but getting Doc to look through the book again. If just any mention of the temple, what might be inside of it, any even sort of legendarily or anything.
Okay.
Third time's the charm. Gee.
Sorry?
Third time's the charm.
You've got some good information out of it, or you've got some information about it, whether it proves good or not is sort of yet to be the case. Cool. We'll come back to some various pieces of those in a moment. Torsten, as required. I mean, Torsten and Wanda are both also here. 119 would probably consider joining the sort of physical kit prep, and then actually is going to stand at the edge looking down and sort of having a moment of, hard to read from the outside, but certainly some kind of reflection of his own. Torsten tries to get everybody's attention a bit too subtly, sort of like standing in the middle of the group. Yeah, it's the sort of the weaker hemming, and when that presumably only works on some people. Well, actually, I have something to say. I think it's best we hear it before we go down the big hole into the temple. Viorica, if you start, you've got off the start go, but you can join in. You can have this full before you've left or as you're leaving. You can join in at any point, but assume you can sort of step in if you want to. But yeah. Well, I've been running some numbers and glances at Valka as well. The portal, the way back, it's not necessarily stable enough to take more creatures, people, living beings back through it. I mean, it's just rough calculations, but we punched a hole between the planes. We sort of have created a way through that has a certain valence and strength. And I fear that based on my calculations, if we try to overload it on the way back, it could quite well collapse with us on one side, which could be good, or bad, or with us in the middle, which would just be bad.
Boston, when you say based on your calculations, is this further research you've actually looked at this properly?
He waved a sheet of paper in his notebook, which is written with the equivalent of dense mathematical formulae. Yes, I could be wrong. I didn't want to bring it up if it would cause unnecessary alarm, but I feel that in this moment before we commence the sort of taking of the artifact, it might be good to acknowledge this and deal with it.
Well, we know there's another portal.
Yes, I suppose we do. Right? Yes, at least one.
So, chin up, guys. Not a big deal. We'll be fine, regardless.
One of the abilities that I was fitted with by Nilo was a spell which potentially could get me home, or someone, or all of us, but Nilo wasn't sure how it would work in this particular space. Spell banishment.
Oh, I see. Yes, so it could work. I imagine if it were, I suspect some experimentation may be required. It might work, but as a scene from the ritual, the act of punching through between the planes is very energetic, or requires a lot of force. But there's nothing to say it couldn't work. If and only if the hedge maze remains this close to the prime material.
I'll volunteer for it, says Viorica.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, sorry. I'll volunteer for it, says Viorica.
That's very well. All right. And I guess, yeah.
Maybe not now. Maybe
No. I think I can probably still be of some use here.
no. But how does it work first? Like, if we send you back now, and then you have no way back.
That's
normally, what I know of the spell, it would send someone back to their home plane of existence. And as long as I concentrated for long enough, they would stay there. If I ceased to concentrate, they would return.
Would you have to concentrate forever?
No, I believe after perhaps a minute or two.
Oh, right. I thought you meant that if you ever stopped concentrating, the Viorica would be pulled back to this place, and that we don't want that. That's not ideal.
No. However, if it normally, when cast on a creature who is already in their home plane, it sends them to a small demi-plane.
Yes, and the existence of those is quite fascinating. Carry on, sorry.
Thank you, Justin. I believe it renders them unconscious or incapacitated.
Yes, they will
some
be quite
way,
unable to act.
and they will return regardless of how long I concentrate.
But we're not on our home plane, so we'll be fine.
That is what we would like to experiment with.
So
because of the specifics of the hedge maze, Nilo believed the spell might work differently here.
So you want to temporarily shunt someone to another dimension for 10 seconds or so and see what they say when they come back?
Precisely.
But we should get the constant first.
I could
and then get
try
back
it
to the
on.
portal and then have a go, right? We don't want to be trying that now.
I agree. I think save your
Yes,
strength for getting the constant. We'll try this when we need to get home.
I believe it would be advantageous to know how this will react.
Can you cast it twice? Is it one of those things where once you say it, it's all used up?
I only require a short rest to regain my strength between casting spells. So.
But this is a spell Nilo taught you, not like a spell scroll that you were given.
No, it is an ability I have.
Well, I for one am all in favour. Yes, if we can solve this bind before we kick these events off, that strikes me as advantageous. And at least if it doesn't work, we will know. It seems that there's little disadvantage to it.
Apart from we might potentially lose Viorica.
On that, I think I should go, because Viorica, you sing very nicely, but I can set fire if something leaps out at me in a demi-plane. So I could go, if you want. It's only going to be 5-10 seconds.
Very well. I don't think anything is going to leap out and try and hurt.
The demi-planes are usually quite harmless. I mean, the very existence is quite problematic to my work because it implies tangent. But yes, no, it should be. If it works as intended, Viorica should be quite safe and temporarily back on the material plane. If it doesn't work as intended, then he should end up only temporarily inconvenienced, but not in any way harmed.
If you want to, Viorica, then go for it. I'm just worried that you think you should go because you're expendable, and you're not expendable. We need you.
That's very kind of you to say. But surely this is the best way that I can help the party is by figuring this out.
As long as you promise to come back.
If I possibly can, of course I will.
I promise we will come back. Viorica, you may wish to close your eyes.
Very well.
355 holds up their hand and like an iris almost. Their palm opens up, and it's like a net, like a net with kind of weights around it. It gets fired out and just wraps around Viorica, and as it wraps around, just and he's gone.
Awesome. Amazing.
Assuming it works.
Barda, remind me how your portal sensing ability works. I forget the name of it.
I have to activate it. It's one of those things that it's a one a day kind of thing.
Fine, all right. The spell, by some definition, works, Viorica, you are gone. I always think of banishment in this way, like being kind of like an isolation tank. You can't do anything. Like it can be distressing, but it can also be quite calming because you're just in this sort of floaty, dark bubble kind of. Yeah, you're notably not on the material plane. And 355, you're stopping concentrating on this after.
I mean, yeah, like 10, 15 seconds.
Cool. And Viorica, feel free to describe how that happens as well. But Viorica appears back exactly where he was standing when he left.
I don't know. I don't have anything for that.
Reverse plug. It's a reverse plug hole then.
Yes. And Viorica comes back and what would I have seen?
Kind of nothing. Like it's sort of I in my head, it's always like a sort of close, dark space that is quiet. Yeah. Like almost nothing essentially. I mean, you
like 11
mechanically. Yes. I mean, like the last station. Yeah, I kind of that makes sense. Yeah, technically you're incapacitated, but you can still perceive and all the rest. So, sort of nothing. It's sort of a neutral, harmless space. But very much, definitively not the material plane.
Gotcha. So I come back. Oh. Well,
all right.
Yes, that was nothing. That was I felt like I was cocooned, yes, I definitely wasn't home. I was just
all right.
Emmy.
You remember from last time that you did use your portal sense last time. The feeling of the sort of the planar walls effectively were much thicker here. Like they were notably sort of. You feel that the outer wall of the plane here is very strong. I don't know if you used it elsewhere on the plane previously, this demi-plane.
Just used it once here. Yeah.
You probably know in general, but yeah, this feels like it's recognised with that kind of whatever the warding aspect, whatever it is that keeps this place sort of sealed off. It's that in some way. Cool. Definitely here at the heart of the plane.
I think Barda just would say that in a very stoic. Just not happy about it.
Maybe if we try it in the thin bit where we punch through, maybe it will work.
Possibly, yes.
It's a possible theory.
We won't know for sure until we try it, but it is a possibility, yes.
I have to hope we have time to experiment as well if 355 needs to rest between each time they use it.
We'll have time. We'll make time. We should go, but before we go, I need everyone to promise, including Torsten and 119, we currently have possibly one more body than Portal. No one's allowed to do anything noble and go wandering off or jump off a cliff or throw yourself in front of a monster to make that not a problem anymore. It's not allowed. Being noble is stupid. We're all going to get home. Does everyone promise?
I can't promise not to be stupid, but I'll try my best.
Valka gives Barda a hard look as Verasti says this.
Verasti is also.
Barda's just like, I wouldn't dream of being noble.
Good, because, Max would be really cross with me if he didn't come home.
Aye. Well, let's take an hour break, make sure 355 is at full strength, have a biscuit, and we'll get back down to getting down this tunnel. And she pulls out her dog biscuit.
It's some very confused dog somewhere on the material plane just chowing down on some really nice trail mix or something. Is there been a mix-up? It's like getting the wrong package. Cool. You can all take a short rest, no problem. You can, if any others of you need to click the button, you can.
We just want our 355 to be shooting many bullets.
Verasti spends the hour slowly and methodically setting a yellow macaroon on fire.
There is no rock to be found within.
Paralyzed.
Sadly.
There's a biscuit.
There's
not anymore.
Yeah. Cool.
It's a crisp.
Yeah. You're taking your rest. You are set. Those of you who are prepping the ropes, you could have done that in the intervening time. That's fine. So you're just essentially rigging up a way of climbing down. Is that fair?
Yeah, solid winds or not. Yeah.
Solid winds or not. Yes. High velocity and fashionable. You could. One of you can be either you can each make one and take the highest, or one of you can do it and the other person helps with advantage, therefore, of I think just a straight sleight of hand check in this case.
I have no bonuses to that.
I have a 4.
Okay, well, I will roll to help.
Okay. That's an 18 or a 16. So we'll take the 18 plus 4. Is that 20?
Oh yeah, 22. Yeah. That seemed very solid. Yeah.
Really nice necktie.
It's a very nice Windsor knot.
I've got a decent sleight of hand check. Does anyone want to help? Can anybody?
Oh, that
help?
was the roll we just made.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought it was everybody was doing it. Sorry.
No. So yeah, it's only the two of them who were prepping the ropes from before, and Barda.
I feel like the reason it's a Windsor knot
walked
is because of the Orca, though.
I want us not to look fine. You've rigged. I mean, 22. You feel this is a solid, dependable descent point. Like you've got time, which is another luxury. Is that you can find a solid point to tie onto. There do appear to be walls to this pit, but they're a bit recessed. So it is a bit of a like dangle over the drop, abseiling kind of situation. But you've got enough play. Yeah, how many? Yeah, you had at least 2 more pieces of rope. Did you have 3?
I think we didn't.
Fine. Well, I mean, 2 is more than enough. I mean, 2 is ample to do this. But yeah.
I have pythons as well. Does anybody else have any climbing equipment?
No.
Maybe.
Just because as we descend, it might be a good idea to start carving them into the walls. So
I'll make that part of the sleight of hand check as well to sort of secure this point. Like you can definitely make it solid.
Slightly wary about screwing into this thing, which is technically living, and which we're going into the center of. I don't feel like
there hasn't been any reaction when you've been walking on it so far. And again, you can experiment with this and try it, and doesn't seem to be any. Like when you get down, the bottom of this well or whatever it is stone. There's a stone floor at the bottom. There's an element of blending organic, a living thing, and some kind of structure beneath.
But we could fashion those, foot harnesses out of ropes, those loops that then slide you down, so you're not just using your upper bosom. Veracity would not know to suggest that, but Barda might know already.
Yeah, I feel like that's why we're using a mixture of rope and pitons or pythons. I don't know.
I say pitons, but I don't know if
pitons
I'm right.
is what I've heard. But
yes, it's a little piton.
Oh, piton.
We don't. Not only is the plant living, we also don't want to leave a way down for the next people, do we? So using a slip knot round the rope might be a better idea than hammering into the rope. Plant.
We do want to leave a trail for people. We don't.
No, we don't.
Okay.
Although we do want to get out again.
I'm not saying that either's right. I just didn't know which way around we wanted to do it.
Yeah, maybe we should leave it if this is our only way out.
But we
don't know if there is another way out yet.
But 355 can fly. Sparky can lift as many people as it takes over an amount of time.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point.
So
we can always reset this up.
You know much, much more about this than I do. I was just, partly, hammering something into a plant seems a bit mean, but also I want Darvax Crowbid to fall down here and shatter into 1,000 pieces. Sorry, Barda.
I think you're right. I think if we can reset up this, as long as we've got people who can fly, we can reset this up again, so there is no reason to leave a trail.
Yeah.
I agree.
Makes the sense it makes.
So your goal is something that will provide a stable descent, but then you can detach from the bottom specifically? Is that something you're going for?
Well, I think Valka would probably suggest that she and 355 stay at the top while everyone else climbs down. She's the last one to climb down, and 355 flies down with the rope.
Very good idea. All right. I'll
She
keep you the roll.
suggests that in Valka's voice.
Yeah.
That, but northern.
More.
Also, yeah.
That's fucking teamwork.
Cool. Who's going down? Who's going down first?
Barda probably. Yeah, Barda probably be like, get out the way. Yeah.
Okay. You guys for what it's worth, 119 has been for most of this time has been sort of still looking down at the edge, seemingly not necessarily ignoring. You don't get the sense he's necessarily intentionally blanking any of you, but there's definitely been a moment of a long moment extended throughout this period of just not really engaging or responding or anything like that. But if Barda starts ascending, he'll perk up and offer to go next. I feel
like she's hanging. When you start to come down and she's hanging off the side, fully extended, just makes eye contact with him and just says, "Hey, wake up." And then starts down.
No, I'll go down next. It's cool. Yeah, just don't touch anything when you get down there. There'll be traps and nonsense probably. Just stand very still. Don't move. Max,
okay.
Thanks for the heads up. And then starts woo.
You just full on slide out, abseil down. Yeah, right. Cool. You don't even need to make a roll. You're very solid attach point. Cool. So Barda descends unless anyone will stop him. 119 will go next. At the bottom, Barda, we'll let everyone go down quickly. But this is a sort of, it does widen out. It's like kind of like you come down this very narrow, not narrow, it's quite large, shaft of a distinct width, and then beyond that, the area flattens out. There's more space. So it's sort of almost like in the top of a cave. It's not that the entirety of the room downstairs fits this space, but there is a mixture. Like the floor is stone flagstones. They've clearly been placed here intentionally in some form, but there is that element of like between some of the cracks there is the same matter of the plant growing over it. And this plant, remember, even though it looked like a flower, was I think Valka discovered last time is botanically a fungus. So you have some of that. And there are small mushrooms growing between some of the cracks. The walls of this place, as far as you can see them, are made of the same material, though it's harder to parse out here because it's not flower shaped. It's very much like organic matter growing on the walls.
So George, are you saying disappointingly that at the bottom there is plenty of room?
Plenty of yeah.
That's so good. It's good.
Wow. That was a slow burn of it. It was awesome.
And there's an archway leading ahead, and you can see some kind of smaller rectangular room beyond there, but we'll let everyone else make their way down first. I mean, no one has to make a check, so you can kind of descend in the order that you want without difficulty.
Veracity slides, just
Cool.
jumps in, whee, down to the bottom. It's a quiet wee.
Cool.
Good.
Fiorica? I guess Torsten will go after you, I think. Clearly dithering, not very comfortable with this experience.
If I'm below you, I will break your fall. That may not be very... I'm going to keep going down.
That looks between you and Valka and just fine. We'll go down next, and it's much like none of the Veracity like Flair or anyone else. It's like very slowly, it's very climbable. Like it's a solid thing, but very much it's very much like inching down a little bit at a time, but does make it, leaving just Valka and 355 at the top.
Mm-hmm. I think Valka would probably fuss a little bit and make sure that 355 knew how to undo the knot that they'd done to tie it on before. Heading down.
Cool. You descend, and 355 unsecures the rope and flies down with it. Great. You are in the bottom of this. A well is the image in my head, but it's not really a well, is it? There is the archway ahead with this rectangular room beyond. Beyond that also is what looks like a solid stone door. From this distance, it's hard to pick out. In fact, there's light coming from above, so the space you would come into is decently lit. But it does tail off the further you get away from this thing. So remind me who doesn't have dark vision. 355 doesn't, but has a literal face torch. The ever bright lantern, is that what they're called in an eye socket? Valka doesn't have dark vision, but with, again, 355's lantern takes care of that for the most part, unless you're going to have to do lots of movement in different places. Cool. Are you heading? There's one conspicuous pathway. I'm assuming you're heading that way, unless you want to inspect anything or examine the space or work.
That pathway roughly in the direction that the detect object
100%.
went pinging?
Yes. Because last time for Aston you used detect locate object to
Not
find.
me. I don't have that spell. Someone else.
Barda. Sorry. Yes. Barda used it last time to find the constant, and it is.
Ah.
Yeah. So that would track. That would be in the direction if you triangulate a little bit. Yeah.
Would people mind if we just sat here just for 10 minutes while I thought about poison, and then that way, just as we walk for the next 10 minutes, I can tell us if anything's poisonous? Would that be all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Positively.
That is a good idea.
Cool.
Whilst Veracity does that, it might be pointless. Can I just, whilst they were coming down as well, could I just check for any tracks of any previous people?
Make an investigation roll. Yeah.
Not a survival?
Oh, survival. Sorry, no. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
Thank the Lord.
This is to do with our survival, after all.
It's an 11.
11. You don't think so? Like, it's a mixture. On the one hand, this place is quite. There's clearly been not a lot. You can see very clearly that no one has been this way in some time in general, like from the condition of the place, which on the one hand means you'd think tracks would surface quite easily, but also the condition of the place is so overgrown and all the rest of it might also mask them if someone were clever. There'd be good ways of masking your tracks here. So you're not, you don't think so, but you're very uncertain about that information.
Oh, I also have a spell that means we're just a bit sneakier for like an hour, I think. Would that I don't know if that means that we wouldn't leave tracks, George.
Pass without trace, is it?
Yes.
Pass without trace, explicitly you do not leave any tracks. You can't leave tracks that aren't... I think you can only be tracked by magical means. I think that's the wording in the spell. But certainly you leave no tracks.
Would that be a good idea, do you think?
Valka lands with a clunk.
I'm going to cast that spell. I don't know what's made me suddenly make that decision. So assuming this is at the end of the 10 minutes.
Yeah. So when you detect poison disease, I assume is what you're casting.
Yes, please.
How long does that last, and is it a concentration spell? We'll deal with that first, and then you can cast.
Yes, sorry, I'm casting left, right, and centre. I had up, and then I went looking for...
I mean, you think, given how I've actually used the spell before, you think I'd specifically prepared all my information in a handy box to do this. I didn't.
I can sense the presence and location of poisons, creatures, and diseases within 30 feet, and then whatever there is I can identify, and it lasts for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, and is it a concentration spell?
It is, so can we please assume that I did that the other way around and I did pass that trace first?
It's past that trace concentration.
Oh, no.
That's what I was saying, because you can do it in whichever order you want, but you can't run both at the same time.
Right, I will do detect poison disease for the first 10 minutes, so when it runs out, I'll do pass that trace.
All right, cool. I will try and nudge you when that is, but reiterate it at the time if it seems like I have forgotten. Cool. From casting detect poison and disease, within 30 feet, nothing immediately around. I guess there are a variety of poisonous mushrooms around you. Some of the ones growing out of the cracks are poisonous. Not in the sense of like you step on them and they're going to cover you with spores that instantly kill you, but you wouldn't want to eat them at this point. I mean, maybe you would, maybe there's a way of preparing it, but there's definitely a sense of there is some amount of poisonous foliage down here, which is also just implies some of the variety of the flora down here, but otherwise nothing within 30 feet.
Cool.
I mean, obviously you're also carrying poisons and you detect all the things you expect plus this.
I think for us, he jumps and goes, no, it's good.
Thank God.
Yeah, we'll just go, nothing's going to kill you if you touch it, but if you get peckish, eat a biscuit.
That's good.
Not Bardas, though.
No.
What's wrong with my biscuits?
They're not macaroons.
Nothing. You have those. Leaves more of the rest for the rest of us.
Are you a werewolf?
Wow, that's a big question.
Oh, a werewolf?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Not that I'm aware of. Huh.
Yeah.
That being said, the barda that we know would have played into that and said yes, so maybe she actually is.
Methinks she does protest too little.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over to the door now.
You're the one eating dog biscuits.
Okay, is that sort of de facto put Barda at the front?
Yes.
119 will definitely be trying to stick with you. Like there's a definite effort that he's sort of trying to be at the front of the group, but also is not absolutely treading on anyone's toes, but definitely is sort of pushing a little bit. What is your arrangement order?
I think 355 would have been trying to be at the front just for light shining purposes.
There's enough space in this area for you to sort of fan out in that regard, but it will narrow soon. Yeah, everyone else?
The York is going to be in the middle somewhere.
Sure.
I was going to say, usually, obviously, Valka would be at the tail end, keeping an eye on our back, but she cannot see if the light is not pointing in that direction, so she's probably got to stick close to 355.
All right.
In that case, Rusty can take up the back.
Alrighty.
Assuming that if I'm at the back, is everyone still going to be within 30 feet of me?
Yeah, I seem so.
Great.
I mean, you can arrange it so that it's so. Cool. You advance towards this space. It doesn't narrow. There's a rectangular room. It's kind of like an antechamber, and there is a sense that the door at the far side of this chamber, about 80 feet away, is solid. Like it's a big stone door. You can't see how it opens. Like it looks like there's no obvious seam in the door. It's large enough you'd expect it to be like a big fancy double door or something like that. It's not flat and blank, but it's not ornamented either. It's not marked with intentional designs. There's a sort of sense of slight patterns of reinforcement on the stone. It's big, and so it's a sort of I don't know how to describe the shape. It's like a sort of a mountain with the top cut off kind of shape. That's the word I'm looking for. In front of it, between you and it, on the far side, there is a section of clear flagstones of the same kind as you have been walking on so far. Between you and it is a pattern of tiles, still stone, with different letters carved on. Yes, we're doing that.
Oh no!
At a glance,
It begins with an I.
Yes, precisely. In a variety of different languages, different scripts, I should say. 119 looks at this and is completely forgotten what his accent is. I'm just completely, I remember, but I've completely forgotten how to do the accent. No, this has got to be. Is this the thing with the name? No.
Which name?
Of taps his chest plate. I can prise it off the chest plate.
Oh yeah. Out of character, I've forgotten it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Right, Rhizaeus. So, does anybody know which of these are that?
What languages am I looking at?
That's a good question. Does anybody speak? I'm pretty sure some of them are in common. Some of them are definitely identifiable as that. The others are. Does anyone speak Sylvan? I'm pretty sure the answer is yes.
Yes.
Sylvan.
As in Elvish.
I think it is the Elven script. So yeah, if you speak Elvish, you can recognise the characters as well. And Infernal, which I believe is the Elven script. There we go. You've got it covered between you. You can identify all of these letters. In some form, what's your how are you proceeding from here? To at least one of you, you can make sense of what all these letters correspond to. What they fitting it to the different phonology or written forms of the different languages might require some thought, but you're not going to be stumped on the letters alone.
Veracity, I think, is going to stop detecting poison disease, not get to pass that trace, and cast Find Traps. Because I've seen Indiana Jones.
Yes. So that detects. How does that work? Is it's within 120 feet, I think?
Yes, anything within line of sight, within 120 feet, anything that would inflict a sudden or unexpected effect you consider harmful or undesirable, specifically intended as such by its creator.
Yeah.
So yeah, not like the floor's going to cave in because it's really old.
No. You don't get an idea of its function, but you get to know that it's there, and specifically where it is, or is it a?
Sadly, the spell reveals that a trap is present, not the location, but you do learn the general nature of the danger posed by a trap.
Got it. So, how does this, perception-wise, how does this work for Veracity? What would a positive feel or look like to Veracity?
It'd be engulfed in flames, presumably.
I think a little warmth of fire just goes from the tip of her staff and just goes seeking out the room.
Yep.
And if it finds nothing, it flies around and comes back and melts happily back into the fire. And if there is something, it starts sending little alarm flares.
Got it.
What you're saying is it makes the floor lava.
It does. I mean, that's a fair assessment. So it does set off the flares, and for you, Veracity, it leaves a little afterimage over the tiles. It's you don't get enough granular detail to know exactly how it works. But yes, there is some floor-based trap across this whole area, or multiple traps, more likely, actually.
I'm sure everyone is amazed, astounded, and surprised by this information, but there is a trap in the floor.
Ah.
I asked if we knew how to spell Rhizaeus.
Rhizaeus. Well, in common, it's the common spelling is what 119 has on his written on the inside of his chest plate, which is Rhizaeus.
It's a good job I asked, because I really winged that in my notes.
Yeah, me too.
I only got the first letter right out of that entire thing, I think.
Rhisaeus.
That's valid.
Rhizaeus.
For the other language speakers of you, Elvish, transliterating, not too difficult. Elvish and Common have a lot in common. No pun intended. But there's a lot of crossover there. And for the Infernal speaker, there's quite a lot of different versions of R phonemes in Infernal. Lots of very guttural sounds and some softer sounds. So knowing exactly where to pitch it could be a little bit trickier. We'll come to that if you want to start figuring that out. But it's not necessarily obvious how you would rewrite this in Infernal, for example.
Okay.
Go back to the original texts.
Yeah, always.
The best idea, yeah.
I guess 355 would turn to Torsten and
Well,
What do we do?
yes, I suppose that is what I'm here for, isn't it? Yes. Well, we. What was it that what was it you found in the book? We didn't resolve the book actually as well. We can come remind me in a minute if you want to do the book stuff. But for now, you've already got some personal information, which is, I believe you learnt from the book. Maybe you didn't. I think you did. You either got this from the book or 119. You got some information from the book about the Temple of the Watcher and the ritual that needed to be performed. Yes, that's it. You got that from the book. 119 had already told you that you needed the Watcher's name to get in.
Yeah.
So, in which case, perhaps we just do we step on the letters with the name or without? I'm assuming with. That seems sensible, right?
It's not a very long name. I imagine if we had to step on all of the stones that weren't in the name Rhizaeus, then we'd be here a while.
Yes.
All right.
Could we put some pressure on one of the things which isn't, shall we say, one of us?
Yeah.
The sea.
Go ahead. What do you?
Sorry, I'm assuming it's been more than 10 minutes since we came down the hole because of the ritual. I need to fly again, basically.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So I kind of activate my fly thing, and I actually just start like tapping on any old tile, frankly.
Just
or I find one that I find one near the edge that I think is maybe an R in one of the languages.
There's definitely a common alphabet R, the first row of tiles.
I step on that.
How hard do you step on that?
I just step on
full
it.
weight.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at this. Could you please make a Constitution saving throw? Except, no, you don't have to. Wait, hold on. How close is everybody else?
Veracity has leapt back as soon as she saw what 355 was about to do.
Everybody else is safely far away.
No. I think Viorica really isn't. Sorry, I don't think Viorica will.
I think Barda grabs Viorica back in the collar.
Barda and Balka both like wrong arm.
She's like...
Yeah, Veracity's pushed Torsten.
What are you doing? Oh, I see. That was a very good idea. Yeah, okay, fine.
Noxious green gas pours out of the cracks in the tile. 355, you don't need to breathe, do you? Is that correct?
No.
So you don't even need to make a saving throw. Like the area on which you had to step to get on this tile, absolutely gouted with this stuff, which will dissipate quite quickly. It'll stink for everyone else in the room, but it won't actually actively.
So I think this smoke just like envelops me, and after a second, I just step out. And I do not recommend anyone else try that.
Try.
It will not affect me, but if you have to breathe.
Sylvan?
Should we try the Sylvan one?
Because that's like trees and we're in a hedge maze, right?
I'd be a bit worried if it's the Infernal, because that means we're dealing with a devil?
Some people who speak and read Infernal are lovely.
Oh, yeah. But this place is shit.
Yeah, you make a solid argument.
You gonna try a different one? Which one?
I speak Sylvan, and I will find a Sylvan one.
There is also a Sylvan R in this row.
I will step on that.
No effect when you step on it.
Go to the next one.
So the next one was what, an H, was it?
H, yeah, sure. Yeah.
So
Elvish
Sylvan
script.
H.
There is. Like you can now you're looking for it and you speak Sylvan, correct? Like you
Yes.
So you can now pick out a path. Like there are more tiles beyond this. There are twice as many tiles again, in fact. But you can definitely pick out, now that you're looking for it, there is a clear path through it. Some of them you think if you weren't flying, it would be a bit of a leap to go straight from one to the other, but like manageable. Like a big stride, but you could like definitely like you can pick out a path of a Sylvan spelling of the name.
Veracity's face, like a big stride is a big deal.
Veracity's gonna go for a little jump. It's gonna be fine.
I'd like to just mark them in some way, I guess.
Sure. Do you have any?
Very fine. Yeah.
You had, I think there was
Fairy
chalk
Fire's
handed out at some point.
great.
Fairy Fire would definitely work.
Oh yeah, we did have chalk handed out at some point.
Did we?
Well,
you're
a
marking
few of us
trees.
can also read as well, so if we follow you from it, we can create a line. I didn't mean it like that. I meant it like-
yeah.
Some of us.
I guess, yeah.
As it happens.
Something temporary though would be good.
Yeah, you can mark it with chalk if you want. Or you can do something even more temporary by having people mark it out for you that way.
Yeah, if we create a train, if one of us fucks up, we all get fucked.
So you're doing? Sorry, are you going with chalk or are you going with?
Actually, no. You know what? I'm not. I'm just like once I've worked out the route, I'm flying overhead, shining my torch.
Oh, fine. Yeah.
Oh,
you
nice.
You've got 1/3 across the tile so far. That's the route you found. There are more tiles beyond the end of the name in Sylvan.
Okay.
How do you spell the Watcher in Sylvan?
Oh, nice.
Unless they have a surname.
What are the Sylvan tiles leading onwards? Because it might be more like a word search rather than having to guess. Rather than having to guess what the word is, we would be able to see the path.
Lethal word search.
Unless it repeats, like Riseus.
Riseus.
The rest of us haven't started crossing, right?
I assume not. You haven't signalled to me, so.
Okay,
so
right.
the 355 has got as far as the third in and can fly back or forth as necessary.
And so I speak. Is it just the 3 languages?
Yeah, all the letters here are in one of those 3 scripts.
And if I can judge that I'm about a third of the way across and I've gone through one language, I believe it will be one of the other languages first. But
no, I agree.
Does anyone have an idea of which we should try first?
Sound.
Don't suppose there's really conveniently an R in common on that row and not an R in Infernal or the other way around, is there?
Make an investigation one if you want, 355. Or you can have Doc do it if you want.
Yeah, I was going to say I will ask Doc.
Yeah, you can do that.
To have a look.
It's a bad roll. It's 10. There's still enough to spot because you're specifically looking for this. You can pick out at least 2 paths. Like there is a common full Riseus you can see all the way up to the next third. There is also an infernal one as well.
Right.
Maybe it's like, like Fey, Common, Infernal, like in the layers of
hierarchy.
I could also be wrong. Step on a plate.
In the absence of any other ideas, I step on the R in common.
Nothing happens. It's solid.
Cool.
Woo!
So yeah, I follow that, and then assuming I can see the infernal one on the final third,
you cross successfully by going Sylvan, Common, Infernal in the name 3 times.
Cool.
And all of you who've seen this, you won't necessarily remember exactly where 355 stepped each time, but
if he's doing his lampshade thing,
they can come back and do their lamp shining. Who's going next?
How long did that take?
A few minutes, really. Not. I don't think you didn't sound like you were doing any heavy pausing or anything.
I'll go next, and I'll do it with chalk, just in case 355 runs out of fly time.
Yeah. Cool. For you then, because you can't fly, there's a couple of points where it's a bit of a twister maneuver. Could you make you can choose acrobatics or athletics check.
It's definitely going to be acrobatics. I'll tell you that. Right, how many?
Just 1.
Okay. Don't fail me now. Okay. Well, that was a 4, so 8.
You almost make it on the mid. This is the middle set of letters. You get that point. You're just near. You're a couple of inches off planting cleanly on the tile, but you bridge. You catch the one next to it as well, thus causing something to happen. Could you make a dexterity saving throw, please?
Ooh,
should be all right.
Oh, that's a bit better. That's a 20, not nat.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Unless you have evasion, you will still take some damage, but you have half the damage by succeeding. You take a 7 points of fire damage as you stagger back onto the tile you're meant to be on. A gout of flame had been directed downwards from a gap in the ceiling over this tile. Like the effects seem quite targeted. If you were on the next tile, you might be caught by the effects as well, but for the most part, it's whoever is on the tile is getting something on them. 7 points of fire damage because you passed the save.
I think the only thing I have is Landstride, which makes difficult terrain easy, but I don't think that counts, does it?
That's more about
This is more
boisterous
difficult
trotting
than
rather
that.
than But you can make it the rest of the way without instantly with that roll.
Was it 14 points of damage?
7 points. So I halved it from 14 to 7 because you passed the saving throw.
No worries. So Barda comes to the other side and she just gives you guys the thumbs up.
Just this one scorched tile in the middle.
Veracity, I may suggest perhaps we could get 355 to cut. It's quite a long stride, some of those gaps.
I'm okay,
You can make
because,
it?
well, I'm quite nimble, and if not, Sparky can just pop out and catch me if needs be.
Okay.
So I'd suggest other people go while 355 can fly, because I've got my own rescue system, maybe. But thank you for thinking of me.
Bjork will step up.
I'm assuming my flying is getting close to running out.
2 people's fine. You'll probably get you'll probably get to 3 or 4 people across at the current rate with flying maintained, assuming you're crossing one at a time. You could start staggering people so they cross.
Well, what I was going to say is, if we've still got a bit of rope, I would fly above Viarka, holding the bit of rope dangling down, so Viarka can grab it, and there'll be a bit of like sort of lift and half swing
Perfect.
you to.
Nice.
So you can make whichever check you're going to make with advantage, which whether it's athletics or acrobatics is up to you, and you have it with advantage from this rope system that's being in place.
Yeah.
I could go ape.
Definitely.
It's much like that, isn't it? But with fire and poison. So just like
State, it would be more fun at going with fire.
yeah.
I'm very, very glad I took advantage because it went from a 5 to a 22.
Hey!
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, no problem. You almost feel like you're flying at various points. There's just enough heft to sort of do a little Mary Poppins hop between tiles and sort of
Do you
have
do a
some
little
air in the middle.
pirouette?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, yeah,
He's
brilliant.
flamboyant on this point.
Brilliant.
Well, maybe I should go next. So,
Yes, I think yourself and Torsten as well,
All right.
perhaps.
You can get another. I mean, it's 3 across now. You can get at least one more person across with your support through 55.
I think I would offer it to Torsten. Probably.
Yes, that seems sensible. So I'll roll Torsten with advantage. The first roll is a 1, so that's good.
Thank God.
Second roll is a 14. That's enough to cross successfully. So yeah, he almost completely stacks it, like pretty much on the first one. He's going to step on the wrong letter, and you just like hoist. Sorry, yes, I got nervous. And then the rest is done much more cautiously. Like he does little targeted hops and crosses away with the support rope.
Torsten is so precious.
He's very much joining in the group theme of out of depth here.
Very fun.
119 doesn't roll terribly well, so that's a 7, so that's enough to trigger something. There's another gap of fire that he has to avoid. He fails the saving throw. Yes, he fails the saving throw. Oops.
Come on, dude.
Oh, that's a very tame damage roll. A whole 4 points of fire damage.
Wow.
Gorgeous dice, MVP.
Yeah. I just wrote down 119 hit points, and I just wrote down 119 dash, and then I wrote 119 for the hit points.
Hey!
Yeah, no, that's fine. Leave that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. This is how naming characters after numbers works. You get that.
Sounds like that.
But otherwise, yeah. So it makes a good go of it, but it looks a lot less graceful than you think. There's almost an element of nervousness to him, and sort of making a fairly simple mistake that you feel you should not have made. Who is left to go? That's Veracity and Valka, I think. Yes.
Do you want to go first, and then Sparky can help me, maybe?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Hold on, I just want to do a thing, and I'm just going to get the chalk. And which do you think is more convincing, an R in Infernal or like a W for Watcher?
Oh.
What are we convincing?
In terms of what?
If you were a big skeleton with a crowbeard and you maybe weren't quite as clever as we were and a nice little chalk arrow pointing the way, do you think you'd be more likely to be fooled by the name but beginning with an R in a different language, or like W for Watcher?
Are there, I mean, you can read this much better than I can, but are there any W's at all on here?
Are there any W's at all? Yeah.
There's a couple in different languages.
Then maybe the W then.
In Infernal, because Infernal's fun, and we are least likely to know Infernal. Let's do that one.
Yeah.
Sure.
I do a little tiny, trying to be inconspicuous arrow pointing towards the W in Infernal.
Nice. Make a deception roll using dexterity. I think that sounds like a thing.
Wow.
So that...
Okay.
it's the same modifier.
All right.
That is a 15.
15. I'll take a note of that for such a future time as it may become relevant. Otherwise, are you crossing next then? Is that
I believe so.
And 355, your flying will have run out by the time that 119 will run anyway. So I presume it lands on the far side. I'm assuming you're not making more work for yourself.
Once I've finished getting Torsten over.
Yeah. So the rest, if you can make either an acrobatics or an athletics check.
Acrobatics. 17.
17's great. Yeah, you bounced. I think possibly you're deliberately working extra hard and carefully to do big leaps because you have to in some places in a way that others haven't.
To be fair, should I give myself disadvantage because my legs are half the size?
It's not that significant. No.
Great.
Which just leaves Valka, I believe.
Don't forget to rub the chalk off as you go.
That was my plan. All right.
And again, athletics or acrobatics.
We'll go athletics.
Such a surprise.
That is a 22.
All right.
Yes,
absolutely smash it. You can probably bound across, scuffing the chalk as you go with that kind of roll, just with your foot scuffs. You all reach the other side. You're all there now. So the door ahead of you slides up. When Valka sets foot off the last tile onto the ground in front of the door slides up ahead of you, just straight up in there.
How did it know how many of us were here?
Magic.
It's called the Watcher.
True.
I feel seen.
Cool. Beyond. How far is your light? 355 is 120.
120 feet.
120 cone.
Bright light to 60 and then dim light to 120.
Cool. Well, you can see as far as you need to for the purpose of this. And any of you with dark vision can see 6 feet in this room clearly as normal, but the light pierces a bit beyond because the chamber is 120 foot along ahead of you. It's a chamber of stone, as you've come through already. It's either been built here in the heart of this colossal plant structure, or the structure has grown around some thing down here, because again, as you had in the first room you touched down into, less so in this antechamber, there is this element of organic growth pouring through the walls in some places. The floor is clear, like clear flagstones. You can just about make out parts of the walls on the lower side, but the further up towards the ceiling, you get this mass of fungal matter presses around it through the gaps. You're not even sure there's a wall there anymore in parts when it's just so far buried beneath this stuff. And the ceiling itself is a hanging, distended mass of fungal body. Ugh. Tendrils are protruding from it. They dangle down from the ceiling, some from the walls as well. Some dangle aimlessly over off the edges of this chamber ahead is about 80 feet wide. The last 10 foot or so of each side, there's no floor. It just seems to drop down into from where you are standing darkness. Some of the tendrils dangle down there as well. Some of them just rest, like seemingly doing nothing on the somewhat slimy flagstones. On those same stones, there are what look like a half dozen corpses. Definitely not fresh, but not like obviously sort of skeletal and old, and they sort of fall in random positions on the floor. Ahead of you, there is a stepped dais which takes up the last about 20 feet of the room. Stepped dais up to a wall, which is clear of the fungal matter, in which is something that does strongly resemble the pictures you've seen of the Constant. It's a clockwork-like disc, about 5 foot across, gold-colored material with sort of cut white-green gems at its heart in the middle, and slotted into a recess on the wall. It's clearly sort of fitted in. It's not like stuck on like a picture or anything hanging on the wall. It is recessed a little there. There is a faint ticking sound from it, which is audible even from here.
That's
Sorry,
good.
can we go back to the part where you said it was 5 foot across?
Yes. It's like, it's chunky.
That's going to be a pain to carry back.
No one told us that bit.
Nope. Well, it is a little bigger than I was expecting, but that's it. That's the Constant.
Should I maybe do my thing again and see if this floor's lava?
Well,
yes.
I can go if you want. I'm happy to.
I think it is. Like, if you don't have to waste any energy on this just because of the dead bodies, that's what... Yeah.
Yes, but as in, it's probably something, and I can't tell you exactly what it is, but I think if I think about it, I can tell you if it's like, what sort of thing it is. I can't. Yeah, George, I don't know how that's flavored, like the difference between it doesn't tell you the precise location, but it tells you what's the wording, the general nature of the danger posed. So is that like it will tell you if the floor's going to cave in versus if the walls are going to shoot fire, or? I think
it's deliberately vague to leave it up to latitude. But I think, as I did in the previous room, is like, okay, the floor is trapped without necessarily telling you the effect that it's going to have. I'll try and give you meaningful information, but I won't necessarily. I think we're going to make it up as I go along, because I think the wording is intentionally vague. But I think I will. If there is something to report, I will give you as meaningful information in line with that as possible.
So I could. It might give us a bit more information, or I could just not waste the magic if you didn't think it was worth it.
I think it's a very good idea.
The more we know, the better.
Okay.
Before you do, I could. My systems could scan this, and I just sort of turn around and internally, Doc, could you tell me? Can you tell how these people died?
Well, it'll be tricky from a distance without, poking them and looking at them and stuff. But I can do what I can. Gonna make a roll. It's a bad roll. It's too hard to tell. I mean, if you look and you can see it, look at that one's got kind of a mossy, fungusy growth on it, like that. It could have come later. I mean, look at this place. It's a miracle these things haven't been, eaten already or consumed, digested by whatever fungal things are in the air. But without getting a better look, they could have had their throats cut. They could have, just had heart attacks. It could be anything really. Maybe it's a stress.
So I turn around. The bodies do have a lot of fungus growing in them. Could have been what killed them.
So should I do that one first?
Are there any of those grubs that were on the bodies previously?
Make a perception roll.
Make a perception roll as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'm going to say that because my perception.
Pick two ideally, just
I would like 2 if that's okay.
Right. Yeah.
It's my +8.
Wow.
26.
27.
It's this constant competition. You can't see any grubs. There's no sign of movement from any of the fungal mass above you has this faint sense of. It doesn't even pulse. It's just there. It's very much. You get the feeling this place is sweating, and it has kind of movement on the plant scale, which is to say, over the course of a day, you might see some movement. But there's definitely no grubs on the corpses, static or moving. There's no other organisms you can identify from where you're standing.
I'm gonna. From my other eye, there's another sort of beam of light, and a totally static minor illusion image of me appears in the middle of the basically all the dead bodies.
Yeah. Nothing seems to change.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it blinks out again.
If people don't mind, I might sit here and think about poison for 10 minutes.
Good idea.
Because that doesn't cost me anything, and then if it doesn't give anything, I'll do the other thing.
That sounds fine.
Shoot an arrow into the thingy was for us. I'll just shoot an arrow into it.
That's what happened last time!
Start knocking the arrow to bow. For God's sake, not again!
At least until Veracity's done her spell.
Yeah, I'll wait. I think she's got one knocked ready for it to go for a vine.
Arrows.
I assume this is all taking place on the threshold of the room. None of you have crossed over. That makes sense. Veracity takes a minute to cast a spell. Nothing happens during that time.
I think about poison.
Which is any poisonous creatures, poisonous plants, or disease within 30 feet of you.
Yes.
From where you're, I didn't give you the height of the room, to be fair. The room is about 60 feet high.
Yeah.
From where you're standing, you get the same background sense of poison as you did in the entryway. Although I guess when you laugh at your spell active, it'll go out sometime during the crossing of the tiles. There is a sense of there are poisonous plants around, but nothing specifically within the 30 feet of you right now that you lock onto.
In that case, that didn't ping anything, so I am going to see if the ceiling's about to release poison or anything, if that's okay. And I cast Find Traps and see if anything goes ding, ding, ding.
Okay. It's 120 feet or 100 feet?
120, I think. Let me double check. 120.
Okay. Nothing registers as overt traps. You get an odd little ping from the edge of the dais where you get a sense of like, not even strictly danger, or rather not qualified, not harm danger. There's a definite sense of something will happen that's curious rather than harmful. Like you get a sense if it were a trap, absolutely, but it has an element of like something will trigger that is curious rather than harmful.
I relay this.
I have a question. 355, your image that you created.
Yes.
I suppose I want to ask how does it work, but I mean in the sense of, does it have form? And Balka kind of just prods herself a bit.
No, it is
weight?
just a reflection of light. That is all.
So if this area has something that is set off by weight or physical presence, then we won't have known it.
Correct.
For us, he's not picking anything up. It's probably biological.
You could fire that arrow, dude.
Well, we haven't met Rise.
Rise.
You call him out from now on.
Rise, and Torsten says it simultaneously with 119.
Yeah, we haven't met that guy yet, and I don't think he's going to be in name only. But
do we think it might be necrotic? I just really want to help. I have a thing that means we would all be resistant to necrotic damage, and it would bring us back to life again if we fall unconscious. If it's quite expensive, so if you think it's pointless, I won't bother. But if we think sort of poisony, mushroomy, ancient fey being sort of thing might hit us with decay, melt your face damage, then.
And anything to stop us from dying. That sounds like an amazing idea.
Well, it only
best time to use
stopped. Yeah, it only stopped. Hang on, let me double check that one.
How long does it last? I feel like it would be more useful when we had more information. Yeah, but it would be more useful when we had information that meant that we knew that we were going to be poisoned rather than just in case. Because it would be a waste if we don't do anything in the next 10 minutes.
Yes, no, I won't do it until we are about to walk in, but just because. Yes, actually, that's not true. So, yes, everyone's resistant to necrotic damage, and your hit point maximum can't be reduced. And
absolutely.
Any of our friends who are in my aura, if they start their turn in my aura with 0 hit points, they get 1 hit point back, regardless of damage. So it might be useful anyway.
Yeah, very much.
I'm just mindful, though, love, that you've done a lot of your wonderful spells, and I'm a bit concerned about you getting a bit tired.
I've actually only done 2, and they're 2, because most of them I just have to sit and think about poison for 10 minutes. I've only found traps twice, and they don't take much energy at all. And because, do you remember when we went to sleep a while ago and then woke up really full of beans and feeling like we could do even more than we could the night before? I got so much more energy to do spells.
Amazing.
As long as you're happy with it, then.
Yeah, I have used maybe an 1/8 of my magical energy.
Let's put a number on.
How long will it take you to do the one where we don't die?
Instantly. Well,
okay.
An action, if that was a thing that existed in the world.
Then maybe hold on to that until we know that we're at risk. Perhaps, I think. Although it seems like, given that we have very little information about what happened to them, she said, pointing at the bodies, I suppose it's just a case of risk it and see. Does that count as one of the silly brave? If I went and stepped closer, would people be okay with that?
355. I don't know if this is really insensitive or not, so forgive me if I'm being rude. Can you get diseased?
I cannot.
So if there was an evil fungus trying to infect us, you would be fine?
I believe so. I would not be diseased, at least.
I've seen some pretty nasty funguses that attach themselves to trees, though, so... Not saying you're a tree, but the similar materials.
I am very much made of trees.
And Valka, you are big and strong and terrifying, so you would see off any scary fungus. In a good way.
I
Sure,
agree.
a stern word and a shaken fist would scare off a fungus, but
You also
I'm-
have axes.
yes.
They're good acts.
And you're really good at them. You pulled me out of a grappling plant monster with, like, one hand.
I did do that.
Like, twice.
Then, yes, I will. Let's see, I suppose.
Well, let's see if it's alive first. And she Bud indicates her
you
bow
and your
arrow.
bow and arrow.
All right, please go ahead, please. If you want.
Don't die.
Maybe have it knocked out, just ready.
Yes, I'm happy for you to be prepared. Although, don't try and shoot it straight past me this time.
Yeah.
And Valka tries to take a cautious route to the bodies that's not directly in line with whatever the creature is and Barter.
Yeah. So you're walking in as far as the bodies, basically, is your goal,
Yeah.
cautiously.
Tentatively.
You take a step forward into the room, and another step, and then another step. The flagstones are slimy, and they're surprisingly slippery. There's this kind of sense of this little bit of almost goo covering them, but it's perfectly traversable. You approach the bodies, they're scattered around. The nearest one is close to the middle of this area, and nothing happens between you stepping over and reaching there.
Okay. I guess double checking for the grubs, although we know that we couldn't really see them, but they're small. Double checking.
They were visible enough on those bodies, so these bodies are dressed differently. It's harder to see the skin beneath and presumably burrow through it. Are you trying to interact with them, or are you just visually inspecting?
Not touching.
Don't interact
Just
with
look at.
them.
Don't touch.
Make a probably just a straight perception roll. I'd accept medicine or investigation if you have a case for either of those. So they both seem in the wheelhouse.
Well, the perception and medicine are both a +5, so we'll stick with that. That is a 22.
Oh wow! Definitely no evidence of the grubs, as pointed out by Doc. There, 355. Doc via 355. There is definitely an element of there's fungal growth on this visible skin. Even the clothes appear to have that kind of sense of little mushrooms growing on them there. You get the sense on one side. You haven't touched the body, but you sort of peer around and you can see the face, which is kind of fallen almost face down. But where the face is turned away, there are larger sort of shelf mushrooms growing out, white yellow in color, from the mouth, from the cheek, all on the front of this creature's skin.
That's grim.
That's really grim.
Can't hear any clicker zombies nearby. Can
No.
Good.
There is a ticking. There is a
I've never
ticking from the dais end of the room.
No.
Constant.
I get. Does she recognize the mushrooms? Are they familiar to her?
May I make a nature check? I think is best. Yeah, nature check. You can solid here.
That is a non-nat 20.
Perfect. Similar to other plants you've examined here, or plants and plant adjacent things, there's definitely an element of you can recognize broad categories, but this species is not something you've ever seen because it's not from the material plane. It's not native to there. It is comparable to several you have seen, and actually, with a decent roll like that, you'd put it as being part of the same structure, or part of the same material, part of the same structure. It's not if you can next anyway, but definitely a very similar, or the same species, or the same creature. Via removal and dispersal as the fungus that made up the giant flower from which you descended.
Suddenly feeling a little bit more uncomfortable about having eaten some of it. Good. Relay this to everyone else. I'm a bit curious about these tendrils, these vines that are coming off the creature and going down the side. I think there's
some of them are resting on the floor as well. Some of them dangle down into this abyss that you haven't peered over yet. But yeah,
I guess there's a half thought of how have we been watched, and just knowing that sensation of being watched before, but no presences that we could see, and wondering if it is all the trees and if it's all maybe connected, and if the vines are connecting. I guess, is there any way to? Well, I mean, I suppose she says, well, it seems okay enough to step forwards and have a look around, and yeah, she wants to kind of carefully peer over the edge to the.
As soon as you say the first bit, 119 will immediately advance into the room as far as you at least.
I was about to say, 355 would turn to 119 and like give a nod and go with them.
Yeah. You get the sense that he was preempting you, but like we'll sort of settle in and try and look a bit more relaxed about the whole thing.
Veracity would like to linger at the threshold just for a second and wait till it's a tiny bit quieter and listen really, really carefully to see if she can hear any other people in the tunnels.
All right. Make a perception roll.
That's a natural 20 for a 28.
You could not hear anything. You can hear the ticking of the constant. And there's a gentle like. This place has a sort of gentle rhythm and sound to it, but it's very much more quiet than the forest jungle you've been traversing. But there's definitely in the moment of quiet that you catch, you can definitely hear no one else down here with you. And unless someone could descend in absolute silence, you definitely you reckon you'd hear them if they were down here already, and if they were descending, they would make enough noise you'd hear them as well.
Brilliant. So just
Skeletons famously rattle whilst they move as well.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
played xylophones on the chest. So yes, I will communicate that yes, we can devote our attention to the constant. No one's going to jump out behind us right now.
And Valky, you were looking down over the edge, were you?
Yeah, just to see if the tentacles. I say tentacles, the vines.
Tendrils, I guess.
Tendril,
Which, they are tentacle-like, but they're very much. I can't think of any relevant plants. So they are like a sort of stem or branch of a plant that sort of hangs out in some form. Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So checking whether I can see any of them, whether they are literally just hanging because that's as far as they go, or whether they're going like through the walls, through the floor, elsewhere.
The ones you can see dangle straight down. So some of them from the ceiling come down and rest on the stones you've been walking on. You've been avoiding them. The others that dangle over the edge seem to be a bit longer, or they're extended further down, and they drop a fair way down. Without getting 355 to bring light, you won't be able to see down particularly far over the edge.
355. Can you? I just wanted to check.
Certainly.
These tendrils.
Yeah, wander over and shine my light down.
Cool. About 80 feet below, there's another floor which is stuffed with. It kind of looks like a compost heap, similar to what you had in the Shrine of Tolona. Like it's different. Like this is less ordered. Like you don't get the sense that someone has been tending to this. It just seems to be a falling place, like the equivalent of like a sort of pitcher plant almost, where stuff is collected and is being processed in some form, digested slowly. The tendrils that you can see do stretch down and sort of rest on top of this. They don't appear to like either flow into the walls or like specifically connect to anything down there, but they are dangling.
Yeah.
Perhaps these are the roots of the plant.
Perhaps connected to that creature.
For anyone not looking over the edge, 119 is wandering up to the not onto the dais, not onto the steps, but is like slowly walking that way, like almost fixated on the constant on the wall.
I'm gonna be right behind him. Just
Yeah, me too.
Veracity, if she sees this, will just go, remember, something happened and I don't know what it is.
Aye.
It's not like, well, I suppose we're bodyguarding him slightly. It's like we're not, I'm not trying to stop him, but it is definitely that thing of like, don't do anything stupid now.
And unless Falk has got any other stuff we want to chat about, I'm going to wander back over and join 119.
As you're walking over, he does turn to you. It's right there. This is it. This is it. This is everything.
Yes, I cannot imagine what it is like for you.
No.
For all this time.
No, I don't think anyone can. But what are we waiting for? What's going to change? What's going to? Someone has to take that first step.
We don't know what threats there are around here. This feels like something that is very important, in which somebody put in a demiplane to head away from the universe, from our plane, for as long as it could. Therefore, touching it, interfering with it, feels dangerous.
Yeah, but how else are we going to get it out of here?
Make a perception check for anything on this side near. I'm assuming we're like touching distance of it.
Of the steps or the constant?
The constant.
The constant is on a dais, so it's raised up. There are steps that take you there, but this is the last 20 foot of the. No one's gone onto the steps yet, and there's about 20 foot of sort of step plus platform in front of this thing.
I got pretty good eyes. I'm just gonna, just try and see if there's any possible information to be gathered visibly if there's languages written around, instructions or anything.
Yeah,
Are there any other constants that look shinier or are made of wood instead?
Can I be very paranoid and do an investigation check on the not 355? I can't
119.
remember. 119. Yeah. So an investigation check on what he was saying, as in what I'm wanting to check is it sounds like he's being slapdash, as it were, because surely if you're approaching something this powerful, you would be a bit more suspicious, but it seems like he just wants to get on with it.
Do you mean an insight roll?
That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead and make that. While you're doing that, Niall, what was your perception roll?
It was only a 17.
It was only a 17. Oh, that's still a good roll. I mean, just because you relied on that a long time. You can't spot anything. This is the notable difference of these stairs is there's less of the slime on it. You get the sense that it's cleaner and it's not got anything growing on it the same way, but not much. Like, it's still old. It's not being it's not clean like it's been. No one comes down here twice a week to sweep the steps or anything like that. Like, it just doesn't have the same level of stuff on it. There's nothing you can see on the walls. There's no inscriptions. There's no effort to present this thing other than having it on the wall. You can't. Likewise with that, you can't spot any. Again, you're lower confidence in something specific. You don't spot anything like weird discolored patches or pressure pads or anything like that.
I'm with 119 then. We need to get this
I could
thing.
send Sparky.
Well, I think we're going to fuck things up regardless. It's called the Constant, and we're taking it away from where it's meant to be. So,
Before you lift it, though, I just want to check if there's any of those symbols that anyone can read. Can we just check that there's not a way to fold it up and make it smaller and easier to carry? From that pit of letters that we have to be very specific over what we stand on, and the tall hole that we've got to climb back up.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just be very careful when we're touching this thing.
Bjork, what was your insight roll?
Oh, I mean 3. I rolled spectacularly badly.
He's obviously agitated, but you can't pin why. You don't know if it's you don't know.
Yeah.
It's both understandable and could be from something else.
Yeah.
I think 355 will reach out and take 119's hand and just motion to we should step forward onto the first step.
You do that. And you step onto the first of the steps, and the Constance gems, the green-white gems in the center, glow suddenly bright, and there is a flash, and there is a wave, an arc of green energy that sweeps through the room. And it washes through you, past you, doesn't seem to harm you in any way. But there's a very distinct feeling of being, and this is not watched like the sense you were watched earlier on the plane, but a feeling of being assessed, of seen through, down to the sharpest detail. And the wave reaches the edge of the room and seems to dissipate roughly there, the edge of where you came in. And the lights dim a little.
The lights? What lights?
The lights on the gem gems of the Constant that are lit up.
Yeah.
Everyone okay?
We all feel good?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I weed a little.
I feel very judged.
Is my mother somehow here?
Gonna pat 355 on the shoulder, almost like military style, breaching.
Good work, Eldred.
I give you a nod. And then I think move towards the Constant to
Okay.
have a closer look.
You reach the edge of the platform, the top of the stairs, and you can see this thing clearly. It is big. Like I said, it's 5 foot across. Right, it's not a circle, but it's got a circular profile with ornamentation, all the rest, and it is chunky. It looks a thick metal that would be a reasonable effort to carry. It is weirdly beautiful. It's this odd clockwork thing that seems very the whole thing exudes precision. It's got this, it is ticking as mentioned, it seems to be running whatever mechanism it is. It's not like it's displaying the time, it's not like it's doing anything discernible with that mechanism, but it's doing something active. From behind you, there is a slimy, sucking, shuffling sound as one and then another and then another and then the rest of the bodies haul themselves in an ungainly fashion on the floor. And Valka, you've seen the mushrooms. They are all like that. They have growths all over them. The biggest of them has this beautiful set of mushroom growth. If it were a fixed thing, it would be beautiful. But as it is, they turn to you and it is deeply unsettling. And the tendrils from the ceiling start to writhe and thrash as this place comes alive. And we'll see what happens after the break.
Damn.
Get in the bin. Get in the
Get
bin.
in the bin. Well, there's a nice handy bin off the edges. Yes, that is our first half. We will be back in 5 or 10 minutes to deal with what is happening, because there's nothing with this. So see you all in a minute.
See you in a minute.
Cool. Welcome back. Welcome back to half 2 of episode 10 of Seekers of Elturel Buried, where everyone is going to die. They're not. It's fine. I mean, where we left in a moment of high drama and cliffhangeriness with the party having found the room with a constant, having approached the dais, big weird wave of green energy, and now the sort of mushroom zombies, the fungal zombies on the floor have stood up, and the tendrils dangling down from this big fungal mass on the ceiling have started to make themselves known in high fashion. Briefly, before we roll initiative, because that's what we're going to do, that's what's happening here, let's briefly recap where everybody is. So 355 and 119 were certainly on the dais, on the very edge of the platform. I think Viorica, Barda, and maybe even Veracity were at the bottom of the stairs, unless they've gone up as well. Or they're
I think I was
over there.
at the back.
Okay, yeah, you can be.
Because I lingered to do the listening, so I think I'm a little bit behind everyone.
But
I
Viorica,
was
Barda,
following...
so you're sort of partway up the stairs, maybe. Is that
yeah, I was military style behind them.
Crocodile. No, that's and Riorica's similar position, and Valka. Whereabouts are you? Yeah, that's more flexible.
Definitely not still by the edge. Would have left the edge at the same time as 355.
Yes.
But yeah, probably again towards the back. Hasn't stepped onto the steps.
Got it. Yeah.
On the main floor.
When you say back, are you up by the steps, or are you at the back of the room near the door? I think is it.
Oh no, I'm near the steps, but not on the steps.
Gotcha. And that was also what you meant, Rebecca, with Veracity being at the back. Do you mean at the back of the room, or the back of the group?
Sorry, I meant back of the group closest to the door we came in by.
Got it. Fine. So yeah, that makes sense. Marvelous. With all that said, I think it is time now to roll for initiative while I pull up the D&D Beyond Encounter Tracker. You should now be seeing, not right this second, but when we get to combat turns, you should see the miniatures do their magnificent thing when it gets to different players' turns. So you can easily identify whose turn it is by the highlight and or the spin. I'm going to press the run encounter button, and I'm going to roll some initiatives for these monsters.
Well,
I'm with you.
You could just give them
Yeah, just give them 0, it's fine. Anybody 20 or higher? Yes, Veracity.
21.
21. 15 or higher? 10 or higher?
Oh no.
Bodes very well.
Everyone else?
I rolled 2 12s with advantage.
Wow, okay. Great. So 355, what are you at? 6. Barda? 6. Which of you wants to go first?
What's your dex?
I've got a +4.
So, you take it. It's cool.
And Viorica?
9.
Oh, no, okay. That's
669.
Yeah.
669 is the next one. That's one from the future that's come
that's
back.
the one that's going to come and get you out of this, yeah.
Time traveling one. Oh, that would be amazing.
Veracity. It is. Why is? Oh, there we go. No, it's okay. It's fine. I just thought I was missing anything in my initiative tracker, but I'm not. Oh, briefly, let me just add Torsten. Sorry, Torsten and 119 would quite like to have initiative scores.
Yes, get involved. Come on.
And 119 is got whopping great that much. Okay. Cool. Yes, Veracity. If you would be so good as to go ahead.
Yes, I am, in a really unimaginative way, but I think it might still be the best thing. Going to cast Blight on the giant plant thing on the ceiling.
Got it. Yeah. Perfect. Which is a Constitution saving throw, I believe.
Yeah. Danke.
Yeah.
Bundesliga.
Kill it. A total of 20.
Fuck.
Oh, but it has disadvantage because it's a plant.
Hey.
Oh my word! It's a plant. Is it a magical plant?
It is a magical plant.
Then yes, it has disadvantage, and it gets max damage if...
Is an 11, which is a fail.
It takes 64 points of damage.
It's going to use its legendary resistance to halve it.
Okay, it still takes 32 points of damage.
It still takes 32 points of damage. That's relevant, yeah.
And it's burnt a legendary resistance with its first reaction.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll take that, and I won't sulk about that.
So that was 30, how much?
32, because it's half of
32
8d8.
points of damage. Brilliant. Yeah, that's marked on.
And I'm not going to make the same bonus action mistake I always make. I could go wild and turn into a wolf like an actual druid, but where would be the fun in that? I'm, as a bonus action, gonna contemplate whether the green wave washing over us and then the things being released meant we were deemed not worthy. And I'm going to think about that for the remainder of my 6 seconds.
Good. Yeah. The zombies. Well, they're not really. The zombies is perhaps a simplification.
You promised me that these were not mushroom clicker zombies.
They do not make any click. The only clicking sound here is coming from the artifact on the wall. They just look slightly slack-jawed at you. They're not like they seem to be seeing you, perceiving you through normal senses. They're not doing any.
This is twice now, George.
Yeah.
Twice now.
They are.
They weren't danger cloud.
Yeah, no danger clouds. 3 of them are going to. Oh, what was their movement speed? Yeah, that's enough. 3 of them are going to move towards Valka, who is near. I mean, you're all sort of together towards the route. 3 of them are targeting Valka. Yeah. The other 3, Veracity's also at the back, I guess. So 3 of them are going to mob each of you. And I'm going to make some rolls. They each get a single.
Wait, how many of them? How many of them are there?
6.
Oh, fine.
Yeah. Okay. So 3 on Valka first. That is rubbish. That's a 7. That is 12. Nope. Still rubbish. That is a 6. Wow. I don't think I rolled above. No, I didn't. I rolled above 5. That's good for me, right? The other 3 targeting Veracity.
Oh dear.
Keep the rolls.
14.
That is my armor class.
Yeah, that does hit in that case. You've got 1 hit. I'm just going to roll the rest because it's not going to kill you or anything. It's also a 14. It's a 10. Dice, that is. And that is a 9. So 2 hits of those.
Great.
And that's going to be... that makes 6 from the first attack and 4 from the second attack. And it's all piercing damage, so I think it's all even odds.
Great.
Next, after them, conveniently, in terms of what goes on in my brain anyway, is the creature on the ceiling. A part of it opens like a bud, and it extends what looks every bit like an eye, except that it is plant. It does appear like it's sort of like those predator patterns you see on butterflies and things. It resembles an eye, but you're not sure it physically, anatomically can be. And it is massive. It's a big chunk in the middle of this thing, just unfolds. These tendrils are moving, and they are moving with intent. At first, they started thrashing around fairly randomly, but now it is seemingly focusing its actions at will. It is going to near this eye, pseudo eye. Several smaller tendrils emerge and start making passing motions and shapes because it's casting a spell.
Fuck me.
Shit.
Did it look hurt at all by 32 points damage?
Hard to tell. It's not got a face you can read. It is a big mass of fungal matter. It did respond. There was a writhing wave that passed through it, but it didn't. No massive chunk of it has blackened and fallen off or anything as blunt as that. But it clearly was hurt by your attack. It was not like it just shrugged off the damage in that way. But it's not readable in a like most creatures might be. It's going to cast a spell. From above you, it conjures and it sort of emerges out of it as it draws this into existence, a thick yellow-green fog that falls quickly above the group of you, focusing on the back of the group because that's the first written concept. So I think everyone up to not the 2 on the dais, definitely, but the rest of you are clustered enough together to be hit by this.
It wouldn't get affected by it anyway.
Oh, that's true, actually. Not in this case, but... it's not a breathable thing, although it is partly breathable. So everyone except the 2 Warforged on the platform will need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Am I not just behind 355?
Sure, yeah. If you're at the top, then you're probably just out of range of this thing. It's targeting the largest group it can, which is the group at the bottom. The mushroom creatures do not seem to be affected by it. It is a combination of... We'll deal with it when you make the saves.
Wait, is it the same color as the mushrooms?
No, it's similar. Like, there's definitely a tinge of it to the mushroom's colouring because they had a yellow-white tinge. And this is a much thicker, greenier, horrible thing. What's everybody got on the saving throws?
22.
22, that passes.
30-20.
20 also passes. Viorica?
6.
Oh, I should roll for that. 6 is a fail. I'll roll for Torsten. Torsten rolled well. Torsten rolled a 17, which is enough to pass. So those who pass will take half damage. It is just that effect. So it is lingering. This gas still sits there. It's not gone away. And it creates heavy obscurity, so it's literally hard to see through the thick fog. But those who fail are going to take full damage, and I'll halve it for those that passed. It is poison damage if that is relevant. Dice roll. How many dice is it on this spell? That's very satisfying doing that on Beyond. So it's not a terribly high roll to start with. So those who fail, which is just Viorica, I think, takes 17 points of poison damage. The rest of you take 8 points of poison damage. And the area you're in is currently heavily obscured. Because of its particular trait, after casting a spell, it can use a bonus action to make an attack. It is going to direct a tendril at... Which of you two? At 355. So it's going to make an attack roll. That is a 15 to hit.
Nope.
Okay, doesn't make it. So you either dodge out of the way or something. It tries to lash out, like it's a whip attacking you. Misses, goes wide. The momentum just passes you by. And that is its turn. So next up, it is Valka.
Immediately rage.
Yeah, that sounds right now.
And I don't think we established how far away Veracity and I are from each other, but I'm assuming we're kind of...
Sorry, I'm not Veracity. Were you at the back of the room or just the back of the group? That's the part I don't have.
Back of the group. I said I'd been good for
You're all sort of near the stairs, but
yeah. So it's Valka turns, it kind of ignores the zombies that were kind of pouring at her and turns to the ones that were attacking Veracity. Leave her alone, and attacks with her axes.
Cool.
Raging Granny! To the rescue!
And there's a 12 on one.
I think that'll do it, but let me check. If it gives me the... No, they actually have a surprisingly chunky armor class.
Oh, okay. Well, the second one was a 21.
That will hit.
So that was a 5.
Okay, 5 on one of those.
Which is rubbish. And then no, I can't bonus action. But
because of rage, yeah.
Well, I feel useful. Good. I think that's kind of it. Well, I can. So the one that I did hit, not that I think it's going to be zooming around, but because I slashed it, its speed is reduced by 10 feet.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
If it decides to go anywhere.
Yeah.
At the end of your turn, the Watcher, but that's what it is going to use a legendary action to make another tendril attack. It's going to target same target. It doesn't like missing 355 in this case, and you're up close up there. Oh god, that's exactly the same as it's a 16. It's a 16.
Oh.
Cool. So that's that legendary action.
Legendary.
Yeah, very much. Definitely not. Yes, next it is Viorica. So you're still you're still in this gas fog.
So yes. So
sorry, Val, did you want to move on your turn because you are still in the gas? I should have reminded you of that beforehand.
Yeah, I guess for a free action, yells to Veracity like up the steps, and kind of retreats up the steps a bit.
Got it. Okay. I will make juggling things. The zombies, the creatures, the fungal creatures will get attacks of opportunity against you. I'll roll them unless you want to change your mind otherwise.
I'm trying to think because there was something with Sentinel, but I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, you can stop them moving. Yeah, exactly.
And same if they tried to get away from it, but that's fine.
First one gets a 15 to hit.
Oh, well, it does hit.
Okay, I'll roll because they're not bright enough to hold their third ones. I say rolling all the good rolls now, just on this one thing. That's exactly the same. That's literally I've not rolled below a 10 for most of the attacks, and now I've rolled 19. Yeah, that's all 6 hit. I'm afraid.
Okay.
Which is somewhat absurd. So do you want the damage broken down by attack or just as a lump?
No, just all of it.
Fine. So that's 12 plus 3 minutes, 15, 16. 24, 32. They just go wild. They just slam it they just react to the near movement.
But the point is, I've put myself between them and Veracity.
Yes.
But also, I'm glad it took me a moment to realise that they weren't what the numbers that you were rolling, and you were doing cumulative numbers. I was like,
They're just really hench. They've just got so much power behind those mushroomy arms. Cool. Yes, thanks. Sorry, Briarka.
Is the damage not half because you're raging though?
Oh, it should be. Yes, sorry.
yeah, that's true.
It might even knock off another, call it 3, because you'll have lost out to rounding otherwise. I didn't break them down by attack, but some attacks would have rounded down, and that would have done less damage.
What was sorry, repeat 32, the amount. 32 points of damage.
Yes, so half
I need to add 16,
and knock off
15, 14, 13 back on.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, that's a massive difference, so yeah, nice to be reminded now.
Amazing.
The Oracle, yes. Finally.
So, how am I within? Sorry, where is everybody again? As in, like, how far am I from people?
Possibly on the steps or at the bottom of the steps. That's kind of your call. But everyone else is sort of in that same area. Valka's just moved up the steps to where 355 and 119 is standing. Torsten is in this cloud with you somewhere. Veracity is also here somewhere towards the bottom of the steps, but has now got free movement if she wants to take it. Blada is at the top of the steps.
So, yeah. So nobody's within. I think it's 5 feet of me.
No, not currently.
Okay, cool. Because we've got this, we've got this gas all around us, right?
Yes.
So I understand if you can't tell me this, but if I were to cast Cloud of Daggers,
I apologize. Yes, I should have triggered the gas on your turn as well. Carry on what you're going to say, and then I will make you roll for the gas that I forgot to do at the start. I think that was underpowered for the level of the spell. Yes.
Well, exactly. But that's what I mean. So what I'm imagining is that a cloud of flying daggers will be moving around and would therefore disperse the mist.
Potentially
that's what I'm hoping.
Yes, there are specific rules for how the fog disperses, but you can make some impact with that to clear the air around you if you want. First of all, because you do start your turn in there, you make another con saving throw.
Yes, I can. Oh Lord. That's a 2.
Yeah, it's exactly the same damage again. I'm afraid it's 17 points of poison damage.
Okay, that changes my plan a little bit, to be honest. I think that the daggers can go and hang themselves. I need to run away and. You
can either head to. There's loads of space outside the gas. It's about 40 foot total diameter. So you can head up the steps as the others have, or down and into the middle of the room again.
Cool. Now, my Sonorant Sword Cane is a thing that casts spells. Can I cast the thing from the Sonorant Sword Cane and cast Healing Word, or is it? It's
still you casting 2 spells. So if you cast Healing Word, you can cast a cantrip as an action. That's still allowed. But if it's a level,
that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move away. I guess up the stairs.
Cool. Yeah.
Because I want to move away from the clicky monsters, clicky zombies, or whatever they're called.
They're not clicky, but yes.
Sorry, yes, the mushroom people.
Definitively unclicky zombies.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to go up the stairs as far as I can, turn around, cast Healing Word on myself at probably 3rd level actually, which is going to give me. Oh Jesus. Yes, that's going to give me back 11 hit points, which is useful.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I am going to turn around and did anyone do any damage to the to any of the zombies?
Not to the zone.
I did 5 hull damage.
Okay, so I'm then going to turn around, point my sword cane at the zombie that's damaged, and toll the dead, the bastard.
Great, and that is a Wisdom saving throw.
Yep, with 15. I'm assuming zombies aren't brilliant at that.
Well, no. That is a -1.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, they're not great at it, and it's also me. So you deal 2d12 damage, in fact, which is...
Yes, that's... Hang on, let me find... Because it's telling me d6, but I don't believe it. So I'm going to roll 2d12.
Yeah, it's normally it's a different number if it hasn't taken any damage, but it'll be d12 with the damage.
So the total it's 10 damage is done to it.
Okay, that is enough to finish that one off. So this one goes down.
Yeah, so it's a turnaround. He does a flourish because he does everything with a flourish, and things like that. There's a dolorous bell and one of these things. I'd like to think that its head explodes. But I'm not
that's
sure
fine.
how the
Scattering chunks of mostly vegetation, it would seem. Like there's definitely a body under this, but it's been thoroughly transformed.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, that's good. Sweet.
Cool. End of your turn.
And then
go ahead. Oh, yes, carry on.
No, that's it. That's me done.
You're out of the gas, definitively. The end of your turn, it's going to use its final. The Watcher is going to use its final legendary action. It reaches out with a tendril to just stick into one of the zombies and cause it to. It doesn't need to move because it's sort of next to Veracity, but that zombie is going to make an attack at Veracity. So it takes control. That is 17 to hit.
Yeah.
For 3 points of damage.
Oh no.
Yeah. Again.
So it's adding up.
Yeah, that's true. It is 119 to go next, who is going to... doesn't have any ranged attacks, which is a limitation. He's going to activate... he's going to activate... as a bonus action in the body and kind of hover around him that appears to be acting as some kind of dispersal shield, deflecting shield against oncoming attacks. Like it sort of it makes it harder to target where he is. And he's going to be ready to attack should anything come into range because no range abilities and doesn't want to go into the gas. I mean, actually, yes, not necessarily fair. Yeah, no, it's not going to go into the gas. 355, it is you next.
Cool. I will bonus action Spirit Shroud myself. So
remind me how that works.
Like sort of over the top of my shoulders and like just at the sort of high up on my back, lots of little compartments open and lots of tiny little buzzing drones kind of come out and whirl around me.
119 will look at his protective panels, look at your like tiny drone army, and be like.
I'll take 2 shots with my packed weapon,
targeting
finger cannon thing.
What are you targeting?
Sorry,
what are you targeting?
Sorry, the thing on the ceiling.
Yeah, the Watcher. Yeah.
Right, plan. It's 24 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
So the first one is 7 damage, and the Spirit Shroud. Yeah, so it's any attack I make. It adds. So as my kind of finger cannon fires, some of the drones like break off and kind of swirl around the bolt of energy to deal some extra damage. Which
awesome.
Is, sorry, just a second.
No worries. It's going to be one of those battles. Yeah.
Yeah. None of that.
So it takes... it can't regain hit points until the start of my next turn.
Okay.
Nice.
There's no creatures within 10 feet of me. That's fine. And so I get an extra 2d8 because of the level it's at. Hang on. Sorry. I should have learned. I should have paid attention to this better.
You haven't had a chance to use it yet.
So that was 11 and 18 damage.
18 points of damage. Is that including the 7 you said already? Is that?
Yes, that's including the 7.
Oh, correct.
So then I get a second attack. Wait.
Do it again.
Oh, god damn. Oh, God. There. Oh, good. So that's a 23 to hit.
Yep.
So that's 4, and then another 2, 8.
Is the Spirit Shroud is not contingent on like a melee attack or anything, is it?
No, it's just any attack I make.
Cool, great.
It doesn't even say it has to be physical. It's just any attack.
Awesome.
So that's Another 15 points of damage.
15 points. Marked on. Still chugging along. There's a lot of this creature. It's got a lot of mass to it, and it does. It is clearly feeling. Pain. Again, pain is a bit odd for plant creatures, but it is definitely physically being depleted by these attacks. There's a lot of it, though. Anything more from you for 355?
Nope. I think that's it. That's all me.
Cool. Barda.
Okay. I'd like to move so that I'm using the constant as cover towards the big plant thing.
Because the
it's on
in recess into the wall.
Oh, is it not on a daedalus?
No, it's the dais is the platform.
Right.
It's recessed into the back wall, so you can let Hall out. Yeah.
Right. Okay then. Never mind. Yeah, I'll just stand behind 355. What would it cost as an action wise to give 119 the sickle?
Just an object to pull out and essentially throw it, I guess. Yeah.
No, yeah. I think. Well, I'm right next to them, so I'm just gonna be like, here, have that.
All right. Brandishes the sickle and like extends his arm blades and like, sure, fine, whatever. Do you have my?
And who looks worse out of physically? Who looks worse out of Rassi and Valka?
Rassi's currently still in the cloud from here, so I don't actually even see her clearly.
Okay, then I'm gonna bonus action healing spirit, and a shadow mastiff is just gonna start to formulate next to Veracity, and will heal 1d6 of damage.
Cool.
Thank you.
Or
I'll take it. Many thanks.
Is this thing a creature or is this thing a?
it's more of a spirit.
Right.
It's just it looks like a shadow mastiff,
Right,
so it's all shadowy.
So yeah, it's not affected by the gas. If it's not a creature.
No.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just 1d6. That's it. Nothing better. And then I will start to take pot shots at the old planty, viney, tentacle-y thing.
Got it. Fire away.
Oh, here we go. 3 and a 12.
The 12 doesn't make it.
Cool beans.
So the arrow will stick in, but it won't actually penetrate enough to deal any real impactful damage.
With the first attack, I'm going to mark it as a favored foe, so any next attacks will do extra damage. But yeah, that is max damage. 12? 8 plus 4? 12. 12.
Yeah,
12 points of damage.
Marking it on.
That is my turn. If there's nothing to take cover behind, that is my turn.
Not unless you're willing to head down. And like there are points in the room where you could probably get cover from it, but like, it means moving through the gas at this point. Torsten does start his turn in the gas, which he actually rolls a decent saving throw, enough to take half damage anyway, which is something. Which means he's saved on both, which is meaningful. So he takes a little bit more, which he's not. No, he's all right. All things considered, he's all right. He's going to follow the general trend and move upwards up the steps to where everyone else is standing and try and put himself at the back of the room near the console. He kind of glances at it. Clearly, he's considering trying to yank it out, but like, yeah, maybe not just now. He's going to use help, which he can do because he's an expert sidekick, so he can use help as a ranged action. So someone can, the next attack on the Watcher will have advantage. It's attack roll.
Awesome.
All right, back to the top of the round. Veracity, it is you. You're still in the gas, so could you please make a Constitution saving throw, please?
Constitution saving throw. That's a 2 on the dice for a 4.
4. That is a failure. If you would be so good as to take some amount of damage.
Nah, I don't think I will this time, George. Actually,
okay.
if that's okay.
No, it's just not gonna.
It's 23 points of poison damage. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the.
You are going to be.
No sarcasm. Thank you for the hit points. Every little counts.
No.
Cool. Well, that happened.
Yes, you're still in it at the moment.
Staggers and decides to call in reinforcements. So I would like to summon Sparky in the middle of as many of the zombies as I can get.
Cool.
Nice.
I think Sparky will take, because Sparky is a creature, right?
I mean, flame, fire, spirit.
But like in terms of having a stat block. Like if it doesn't, it's not contingent on the creature needing to breathe. This.
Yes, he does have a stat block.
Right. So I think if you summon Sparky into the gas, it will work in the same way as you.
He has a lot of hit points.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it is a damage over time spell more than it is like.
Yeah, I'll leave Sparky to handle the squishy zombies.
Cool. So summon Sparky and deal damage, and then.
Yes. So in the middle of as many of.
They're all quite clustered together. So is it 10-foot range?
I'm just checking. Hang on, that's the command. Where's the appear? Yes, 10-foot range. So everyone needs to make a dex save.
Everyone makes a dex saving throw. I'm gonna guess they're not good at that. No, they're not. They're not as bad as I might expect. That's a 12.
Fail.
15.
Fail.
17.
Pass.
Another failure and a 19. So 2 passes, 3 fails.
Cool. Okay, so 3 fails. So the 2 that passed do nothing. But the 3 that fail take 2d6 fire damage. They take 8 fire damage each.
8 fire damage each for the fails, or that's the fails, right?
The fails, yeah. The succeeds don't take anything.
Okay.
And then, as my bonus, I ask politely.
Oh, before you do, can you make a saving throw for Sparky? Because it's the first. It's entering the gas for the first time on a turn.
Should be fine. That was a 16 on the dice.
That's pass, so it'll be half damage.
Great.
Which means it is 10. And it's poison damage if that's relevant.
I don't think so. Cool. 10 to Sparky, and then as my bonus action, I'll ask Sparky politely to please fire flame seeds at all the zombies until they're dead.
Oh. Were you moving anywhere?
As a movement, I'm going to try and get out to join my friends.
That's fine, you can do that. They've already used their reactions because they don't get attack opportunity against you. Sparky then goes immediately after you.
He does indeed. I should have known that and not suddenly clicked away from my character sheet to zoom. He does that. So it's a d20 with an 8.
Are you targeting one of the injured ones or one of the uninjured ones?
A fresh one, I think, please.
A fresh one. I'll take a fresh motion.
That is a natural 20 for a 28.
I mean, yep.
Good old Sparky. So 2d6 plus 3. And that's 13 points damage.
That is enough to kill it outright.
Great.
You smash it down with flame seed. Cool. And is Sparky just hanging out in the gas?
Sparky's going to hang out. Actually, he does have a range of 60 feet, but if he uses
the gas goes up. I think it's a 40-foot radius. So, diameter. So he can fly fully out. He can move straight forward, I guess. He can move. He can on the floor. He can move.
But can he see into pew?
Will be disadvantaged because it's heavily obscured. You still can see enough to target.
He has a +8 to hit, and they don't have a very high armor class. Yes, I will zoom him out with me. I think if that's okay.
Marvelous. It is next the zombies. I keep calling them zombies. Plant creatures, mushroom people. The 4 that remain. They are going to go stumbling up the steps towards. Yeah, keeping locked onto Valka, who's become their favorite. It seems. 4 of them to make attacks. I get 3. 119 gets ready. Has a ready action to attack one of them, so we'll do so. Stuff is right here. That is good enough. As is that. One of them is. You gave him the sickle. Who used the sickle? That's just 1 hit. But that is bonus damage for that. So that is that plus that. And another bonus that because it's a sickle that does more damage against this type of creature. That's enough to kill it. It's got not many hit points left, so that's good. Yes, the ready action from 119 downs another one. It just comes up the step and he
119
cuts across. It would be a throat cut on a normal humanoid. In this case, it just disconnects part of the fungal structure of this thing. And it tumbles back down the steps into the gas.
Thank
you.
The
3 that remain are going to make their attacks. That is an 18. A 21 and a 19. See, I'm getting all my good rolls on the zombies and nothing else.
They all hit.
Do you want to break out by attack or?
I realized I should have checked.
Actually, we should because
types of attack.
They're all the same, but I think actually because of your halving, we should do it individually because otherwise we might lose some. So that first one is 8 half to 4, 3 half to 1, and 3 half to 1.
Oh.
Right.
And next it is
easy.
the Watcher.
Yeah.
the Watcher, who is going to this time, rather than casting anything, there is an effort to the tentacles move much more. There's a thrashing. More of them are going to attack because it's using its multi-attack ability. Who's going to target? There's one is going to target Viorica, one on Valka, and one on Veracity. Wait, no, I'll roll them sequentially because there's something else that might do to replace some of these, but in that order if I don't. So the first one was Viorica, which is something 14 to hit.
I think that's my armor class. Give me a second. Yes, it is. Damn.
Balls.
So that is 7 points of, let's probably say 8 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are grappled and restrained by the tendril.
Oh, crap.
Going to make its second attack. So it hoists you off the ground a little bit. You're still close to the floor, but you're held by this thing. The second one's going to be Valkyrie. It's going to do that as well. That is a total of 20, non-natural 20, which makes 7. That makes 10, so half to 5 points of bludgeoning damage, and the same, you're grappled and restrained by it. It is going to, instead of making a third tendril attack, it's going to use other attack, which is the ground pound. So it's going to slam Viorica back into the ground. How mean is it? Yeah, it's going to do that. It's going to slam you down into the gas, I'm afraid. It's going to deal. Hang on, can I actually choose where you go? No, you have to stay in the same space, so I can't actually do that. It's going to deal with that makes 9, 10. That's not actually that good. So that's 12 points of bludgeoning damage, and you're no longer grappled and restrained because it releases you as it slams you.
Yeah.
It's a fling, throw, slam into the ground, which did an underwhelming amount of damage. But yes, it doesn't move you around in the same way.
Wasn't underwhelming to me.
No, that's fair, but it's underwhelming for the number of dice and the type of dice involved.
Oh, really hurt.
Viorica's got like 10 hit points.
Quite possibly. Valkyrie, it is you next.
Wait. How much damage did that do to
Viorica? That one was 12.
20 points in total. 20 points in total for that bash. If you see what I mean.
My spirit shield still
How does it work?
use
What's
that.
the wording?
If you are raging and another creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why.
Fine.
Yeah, like you couldn't apply it to the damage you took, but you can apply it to the that doesn't restrict you from that. Yeah.
So that's reduced by 2d6. So that's a 5 and a 1. So that's 6 damage less.
Cool.
That's great. Thank you. That's actually doubled my hit points.
Okay. Good to know.
Great. So that's
I should say, sorry, the gas moves down 10 feet, so it actually moves away from you a little bit, so it's rolling down the steps into the room more, so there's a little bit more clearance from the gas and everybody else. Yeah.
Good.
Great. I guess I'm just going to use my action to rip out of this tendril.
Yeah, you can do that. It's a fixed roll of athletics or acrobatics. I wonder which you will choose, but still, it is a fixed DC.
Oh, God. Okay, well, that was a 9.
You are still grappled, I'm afraid. But you have advantage on it because you are raging, because it is an athletics or strength ability check.
Oh, my God. Okay, that is better. That is an 18.
That is enough. You break out of this tunnel. And you land safely where you were. You're not inconvenienced otherwise. And you're no longer grappled or restrained.
Fabulous. Do I still get to use, as a bonus action, my second attack?
I think that requires you to attack with your main action.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I don't think I can do anything else for now, then.
Cool. End of your turn. It's going to... What's it going to do? It's going to grab... The same drill as it did before. It's going to use a tendril to touch one of the zombies. This one is one of the dead zombies, which appears to launch temporarily up, attacking... that's Veracity. That's a 17 to hit, which you're on plus 14. Yeah, so that's a whole whacking... 8. That's actually a sizable roll. 8 points of damage. The zombie then falls down again. When it's no longer in contact with the tendril, it collapses back into a heap. It is still non-functional without this support. That is legendary action.
I have a question, George. When the zombie was brought up to attack Veracity, how far away would it have been?
It's a good question. Some 15 feet down the steps, maybe?
Okay.
When it moved, that's when it reached Veracity, it'll be closer to you than that. Like you're all, in my head, you're all fairly bunched up at the top, so you're all
So when it actually got to the point of attacking Veracity, did it get within 5 feet? Is my question.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Then I'm good to use
Oh,
my
yeah.
reaction
In that
attack
case,
it.
doubly so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because of your...
Because I'm a sentinel.
Sentinel traits.
Now then, because it's saying to make a melee weapon attack, so that's just the one. I can't do my full shebang.
Yes, exactly.
Fine. All right then. Oh my god. That is a 10.
Does not break their armor class, sadly.
Ugh. Well,
yeah,
I'm here.
I feel you. Yeah, I very much feel you. So what we've got, that was the end of Valka's turn. That was a legendary action. There, it rolls on to Viorica.
Right. So I'm having been grappled by this thing, which is still nearby to me. The tendril.
Yeah, and the tendrils are they don't occupy spaces. They're not creatures in their own right, but they are thrashing around and have a lot of reach over this room.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So I can't see a place that doesn't take me back into the.
Oh, from up here, no, you're very exposed up on the dais. Like, yeah, and going back down the stairs right now, even though it is rolling away from you, it does require passing back through there or traveling around the very edge of the room where there is no floor.
Okay, so from that point of view, there's no I'm going to be at threat from the tendrils wherever I am up here, and I can't really get anywhere else at the moment. If you get off the dais, there are options, but that is obviously. But not at the moment because there's too much of the thing. So okay, in which case I am going to cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter on the big plant.
All right.
I'm hoping it's a wisdom saving throw at 16.
Does it have anything like? Is it restricted by creature type? Is it restricted by intelligence or anything like that? I think
a creature of your choice that you can see within range perceives everything as hilariously funny and falls into fits of laughter. If the spell affects it.
Cool.
So if it fails the saving throw, then it should work. The only caveat is a creature with an intelligence score of 4 or less isn't affected.
It will still apply in this case.
I don't know if I want to know what it sounds like when this thing laughs.
All its tentacles are just going to jangle.
Cool. It's going to make a wisdom saving throw. That is a 12. So it is affected by Tasha's. Is it going to use this? Yeah. It's going to use its final legendary resistance to stop that from happening.
Yes,
because
I was going to say getting that legendary action away for using Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Totally there for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a good.
That changes my plan.
Oh dear. That was your action. Anything else on your turn, Viorica?
I mean, the thing is that Viorica wouldn't say anything, but now that that's failed, he's in very, very serious danger. So yes, I think he's gonna. Hang on. Oh, I can't do that. No, I don't think I'm going to do anything this turn, but I've just realised what else I can do. Oh, in fact, no, I've still got a bonus action.
It's true.
So, who is in combat, if anyone?
Valka currently with spore creatures, the mushroom creatures.
Cool. In which case, he's going to sing out, "May you be the worst insecticide," and that's bardic inspiration for you.
Amazing.
Thanks.
That's 1d8.
Marvelous.
I didn't mean insecticide, did I? What's the stuff when it's plants?
Isn't that? Oh, I guess. Yeah. Pesticide. That's still. Yeah, fungicide. Yeah, herbicide. Yeah.
No, herbicide.
Herbicide. You're right. Yeah.
May you be the best herbicide then.
Cool. End of your turn. It's going to use as legendary actions to. It's going to target you for that, for making it do that. That's okay. That's a 15 to hit.
Sorry, I thought you were saying Bard and not.
Oh, sorry. No, yeah, it is you, Viorica. Because of the
14 is it. Yeah,
for the laughter. That is okay. This might put you over the edge of damage in damage terms. That is 13 points of bludgeoning damage.
No, I'm fine. He drops to one knee and is obviously in serious problems, but he's all right.
You're grappled and restrained, but you're still up, which is good.
Yeah. You can still see his eyes are open and he's still vaguely conscious.
Cool. Next it is 119, who has zombies in range now, so can move up and use. He is having used the sickle once. He's like, yeah. Is going to attack with the sickle. It retracts the arm blades and goes in for one of the zombies. That is a natural 20.
Nice.
Which is particularly spicy with the extra damage dice it gives. That is. I could do the maths, but it's definitely destroyed this thing, which does not have that many hit points. So I'll cross another zombie. There are 2 remaining, still clustered around. Valkyrie now 119 as well. That is 119's turn. 355, it's you.
I think seeing the state of Viorica, I'm going to try and... I'd move to try and... I know he's grappled.
Restrained.
Yeah,
restrained.
The tendrils around me.
So I'm moving in a way that to try and get in between him and any other tendrils, and also I'm going to take 2 shots at the plant creature, aiming for where this tendril is sort of attached to see if I can.
All right. So are you trying to do damage all 3 Viorica? Because like you can split your shots so you can do one and then the other if you want. But tell me what you're trying to do.
My priority is freeing Viorica.
Okay.
But if I can do damage as well, then great.
Make just a regular attack roll targeting the tendril.
That's 13.
13 doesn't quite break the armor class of the creature as a whole, so it starts moving. It seems to perceive what you're doing and starts thrashing the Yorick around a little bit, not to cause damage, but to avoid being severed. You can make another attack targeting the tendril again if you want.
Yeah, I'll do the same again. Good. That one's a 16.
16 hits. Yes.
Cool. And so again with my Spirit Shroud, that then does. Ugh, rubbish. That's better. 22 points of damage.
You sever the tendril and Viorica flops to the floor. And on this thing, so Viorica, you're no longer grappled or restrained. You're prone, but that doesn't really work.
No.
It doesn't work to your detriment really at this point. Cool. So you're freed of those effects. Otherwise, 355. Anything else?
Nope. I think that's all.
Grand. Barda.
So I'm going to bonus action move the little pupper to Viorca's side. So she's going to bound up the stairs. And I've just reread it, and it's at the start of your turn. Or if anybody else has stood near the dog, at the start of their turn, they gain a d6 of healing. And I've got 4 left.
What's the range on it? 5 foot?
Yeah, it's literally you have to be stood on the dog. So I'm just gonna shout into the ether, feeling like jump on the dog, and then just turn back to the plant and start shooting up at that weird creepy eye.
Cool. You have advantage because no one's targeted the body of the creature since Torsten used help, I don't think. Unless I either missed it previously or no one's targeted the creature since then directly.
I'll take it.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'll see your advantage and take it. Okay. Oh. All right. 25.
Oh yeah, that hits.
That'll do.
And then the second one is a 19.
19 also hits, yeah.
Cool. So I get those extra damage dice for it being my favorite foe. That's 10, 18, 21.
Is that one attack or both together?
This is both together.
Fine, that's fine. Actually, it doesn't make a difference for my maths.
20, 21, 26, 30 points of damage in total.
Nice.
All right. Technically, this is from the first attack. The cloud dissipates because it loses concentration on the effect that was holding it up.
Nice.
I have marked on those points of damage. It's still looking surprisingly, robust, but it's taken a lot of damage so far. And the gas is no longer in play. No gas.
Awesome.
Aiming for that eye is a classic Barda move.
Yeah. And that's probably what causes the distraction. Actually, you probably don't quite spear the eye, but you get close enough to it that the actual mass rises a little bit. You don't get the sense this is a mobile creature that can move around freely, but definitely there's an element of this thing twisting a little bit, which is unnerving from a plant. Anything else in this one?
No. Can't do anything else. Scream.
Torsten. So you say that the dog triggers at the start of your turn.
Yeah. So if you're hurt, if you go to the dog will lick you.
Torsten's going to stand near the dog, and is going to probably take the. No, I think things are going well. I think he's going to use his help again on the creature, the body of the Watcher.
Ooh. Does he want the hit point?
Want the hit point for what?
If he starts his turn next to the dog, he can take the hit points.
Oh, sorry, no, I was confused about whether he could have moved there on his turn, so he can't start his turn there in any case. But I thought it triggered on everyone.
Oh, wait, I think it might be start or end. Let me just double check.
Okay.
No, yeah. First time on a turn, or if it starts his
for the
turn.
first time. Okay, yeah, no. He'll take them if they're on offer. Yeah.
Greedily.
He's not. Proportionally, he's probably as bad as some of you, but he's not also hurting that much, so he won't. Should I? Can I partake?
Yeah.
Right. Roll the healing, the opposite of damage, the anti-damage.
The dog.
Another 4.
The 4, cool. That boosts him up a little bit, which is nice.
So there's 3 left.
Cool, and we're at the top of the round with Veracity. As a reminder, there are 2 of the mushroom creatures still alive. One of them damaged from Sparky's appearance, one not at all damaged. The creature on the ceiling is still very much active, and the gas is gone. So there's currently no particular environmental impediments in the room.
How long do legendary resistances renew at the top of a round, or are they gone?
No, legendary actions renew on
Right.
the creature's turn, but legendary resistances come back after. I think it's rest off the top of my head, but yeah.
I was going to
They're in the same fight. They're not going to come back.
I was going to heal Viorica, but then that happened, and Viorica's been cut free, and now I'm going to cast Blight on Ping, please.
Yeah. Do that. Definitely do that.
I promise I'll fix you next time if you fall unconscious.
Okay.
You can fix yourself, right?
Con save,
No,
do
no.
disadvantage.
Yes, con disadvantage.
All right.
Roll. Do George rolls, please.
The first one was very much a George roll. In fact, the first one was definitely a fail. Yeah, the second one's better, but that's an 11 to fail.
Yep, 64 points of damage.
64 points of damage. I'm just scrolling all the way up to 64. Okay, it is well past bloody at this, but that vomits it past bloodied straight through there.
Nice.
Rusty feels better about how incredibly battered she is looking, and asks Sparky to carry on hitting the zombies. Let's clear out the
Which
zombies.
Sparky can now do.
For movement, or would it be an action? Veracity would like to kick the mushroom people bodies over the edge so that they can't be reanimated to.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
Moving them that far, I think, would take long. Like if it's just kicking them down the steps, I'd allow that as an object interaction. But I think because they're on the steps and the things are on the side, you can move them half your. You can usually drag things half your speed.
I'll kick him down the steps at least.
All right, fine. That's yeah. I'll let you check off at least one of them.
Can I, in the same movement, or would that be it? Make sure I end up standing by the dog.
That's fine. Yeah.
Can I have some? Can I have a lick, please?
In that case, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently it's at this. Yeah, it should be. That should be
I think
good.
it's the first time you enter its space for an inner turn or when you start your turn there. Yeah.
So that's another 4.
Oh,
Rolled consecutive 4s
when
for
I
all your
am
help.
this low, anything helps. Thank you.
How long has the dog got? How many more uses?
Got 2 more charges.
Great.
It's a concentration spell for up to a minute.
Great.
And yeah, after two more pumps, it'll dissipate.
I had that spell packed until this long rest, and I was like, and it's actually awesome. Great spell.
Cool. That's Rasty's turn. It is now the mushroom creatures. They're still they very much a one-track mind. Oh, Sparky. No, sorry, Sparky.
Sparky!
Yeah.
Thank you, Valka /Nat. Yes.
Saving my own skin here.
Yeah.
That I think might hit with a 26.
Yeah. Funnily enough. Are you targeting the damaged one or the undamaged one?
Let's go with the damaged one.
All right. Probably have this.
And 1d6 plus 3. 6 points damage.
Yeah, that one's finished off. Leaving
Nice.
one remaining, which is going to attack Valka, because one track mind and all. That's a natural 20. I mean, of all the creatures to get it, that's not a bad one.
It could be worse.
That is 5 plus something. 7.5 to 3 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh no.
Yeah, however will you cope with this?
I thought. Yeah. Okay.
Next, it is the Watcher, who is. I mean, from that last blight in particular, like there's an element of like withering and dieback happening from the outside of this thing. It's very much focusing more and more in on the core, where a pseudo eye is, and these shorter tendrils that cast a spell last time. The eye looks directly at you, Veracity, after that last incredibly painful, existentially damaging experience. It's going to cast a spell. Again, the little tendrils there start writhing and are targeting you with a spell.
It's got its own fun buns.
It's got its
Counterspell.
355 casts counterspell.
God.
It is a level. What level is the spell? What level your spell slot's level 4, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it just flat out counters it because it's a 4th level spell that it was casting, but because you're Warlock and therefore auto upcast, it just straight up nixes that spell slot.
I love you.
Wow.
What
is
spell
good
was
use
it
of
trying to cast?
Blight.
That's just mean.
Yeah.
I would have at least got to roll the same.
Yeah, it would have been less bad for you, but it was still very much a turnabout.
Also, I
with
have
that.
very few hit points left.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It gets to make after casting spell, it gets to make attack as a bonus action because of this particular trait. It's going to target 355 for that, definitely. That is a 25.
Oh yeah, that hits.
Yeah, so you are damaged for 10 and change, which, hold on, 10 and what? 10 and 4, which is 14 points of bludgeoning damage. You're grappled and restrained, and you have to make a concentration check for Spirit Shroud, I assume?
Yes, I do. Con save. 15.
15. That is enough. You maintain the spell. That is the Watcher's turn. It is now Valka.
I'm just trying to remember at what point. I think that previous round I had already used my reaction. I think it was quite early on in the round I'd used it.
Not 100% sure, to be honest.
That being the case, could I have used my Spirit Shield to help with...
Oh yeah, I've already 14 damage there, so you can use your reaction prior to... Yeah, I think you had your reaction this turn still. I don't remember using it this last turn, so yeah.
Fine. Good.
On Briseis' turn to halve that damage to 355 to 7.
Was that?
No, sorry, no, it's not halve, it's 2d6, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah. My mind went funny there. I thought you said roseus as in like a rose.
Oh yes.
Anyway, 355. That's 6 points of damage prevented by Spirit Shield.
Cool. A total of 8
Awesome.
taken. And now it's your turn. You get your reaction back for what it's worth. So carry on. You've got one of these things immediately next to you.
Slashy zombie.
Yeah. Make a slashy zombie check. I believe that's on the middle of your character sheet and the skills.
Good. That's a 22
Yeah, hits.
and a 24.
Both hits.
Nice.
Neither of them crits, alas. First one hits for 8 damage.
Okay, it is still up.
Second one hits for 7 damage.
It is not still up. You hack it at your leisure. Yeah, two quick strokes.
Yeah.
Or longer. Or are you going full choppy? Yeah.
Or maybe it's a full-on like round quah. So it's in now in 3 pieces.
Oh, no, yeah.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
The pieces go tumbling down the steps ahead of you. Sweet, good job. Anything bonus action-wise?
No. I think I suppose could I technically use the 2-weapon fighting to throw something at the
Yeah.
the big thing's up in
yeah.
the sky, right? I can't reach.
I'm
that.
going to say yes. You can't reach it with melee, but you can definitely throw things. Yeah, I'm going to say you can throw it. I can't remember what the rules are off the top of my head on that, but fine with me. Does it have a range on the hand axes? I assume it does.
Yes.
You have to be in range. is when
20.
is it 2060?
Yeah.
Then you disadvantage for the range, but you can still hit it. That's fine. And then you can still make the attack.
Well, the problem is though, if it gets lodged in there, then
You're never
going to
get it back.
again.
I've been assuming you have like an extra one at least, like one more battle. Up to you. But yeah.
All right. With the benefit of the doubt, I shall throw With disadvantage.
Yes.
That's and the second one.
Ooh,
That's all right. That's all right. That's a 19 with disadvantage.
Solid hit. It hits. Yeah.
nice.
4. 9. 9 damage.
9 points of damage. I've marked it on.
Didn't Torsten help? So wouldn't it have just been a straw?
Oh, it should have been flat roll. Yeah, I mean, either way that works. Yeah, we won't
Didn't roll a 20, it wouldn't make any difference.
Cool, excellent. End of your
Nailed it.
turn. It is going to use one of its legendary actions to. I mean, it costs two legendary actions technically to do this, but it's going to do that against Veracity still because of the blight. Tendril attack, which is a total of 20, non-natural 20.
Yeah.
So that's 8 makes 12 points of bludgeoning damage plus grapple restrain.
No. Spirit
just
shield.
muted
No.
me,
You've muted yourself in shock.
I don't know how that happened. That was a shock. I'm still up. I'm still alive. Just.
Okay.
Amazing.
Is that like how many hit points?
I don't want to tell you, George.
I'm not specifically. Like,
5.
Please,
5.
I'll give you spirit
I want it for
shield.
drama, not for like victimization.
1. I'm down to 1/12 of my hit points.
You're also grappled and restrained by the
Yes.
tendril.
Well, hang on.
And that
And,
true.
The
And I
spirit
promised to heal
shield
Viorica.
Spirit shield.
Oh, there you go. That stops 11 points of damage.
Oh, sweet.
Ooh,
That's
so I can
great.
add 11 back on.
Yeah,
That's less scary. Thank you.
much better. That's such a great ability.
It's very risky.
Yeah. Next up, it is Viorica.
Right. There's only one. Well, no, there's two things I'm doing, but one of them is absolutely casting a healing spell on myself. So you are absolutely absolved, Veracity, if that's necessary.
You get healing from the dog as well.
Oh yeah, so I get D6 from the dog. Oh, well, hang on.
Spirit dog
The
led.
dog.
So the first thing I would do would be to move to the dog, and at this point, I think I'm going to be crawling, basically.
That was the worst time to be taking a drink.
I only rolled 2. I'm sorry.
And that's fine, to be honest. That's more than double the hit points I've got left. So that's like, well, I'd say more than. Yep. Okay, that's excellent. And then I'm going to cast Healing Word on myself at 3rd level. It's going to give me back. Ooh, that's better. Okay. He's got, well, not quite half, but is suddenly looking much, much more healthy. And then turns around, looking at the thing, and will toll the dead it.
Oh, okay. That's a wisdom save.
Yep. Wisdom at 15.
That is, it gets a 20 total, I think. Hold on, let me double check his modifier, but I'm pretty sure. Yes, that is 20 total.
Okay, cool. So that means he may not.
I don't think normally cantrips, if it's on a pass, they don't take any damage unless you have a special.
Yeah,
trick
no,
that
they
makes
don't.
it
Yeah,
hard.
absolutely. That's fine. So nothing happens. He also wants to. I was thinking this was going to be for a vicious mockery, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. So I just want to say it now. You're nothing but a houseplant.
Cool. End of your turn. It's going to do this last legendary action for this round to activate the one of the dead zombies, one of the ones who is intact, and who's actually near to it. That's the thing. I guess 119 is possibly the nearest. Actually, it's going to charge forward, make an attack, get not enough to break his armor. So again, this tendril sort of almost lifts and shoves this thing, briefly jerks to life and slams into 119. He just takes it, like for all the. In fact, even better, he's got the active plate protection still up, which absorbs one of the hits, and some of it gets knocked back onto him because it's functioning as a particular kind of spell. So no impact of that, and the mushroom zombie collapses in a heap once again. It is 119's turn. Again, very limited on options unless he's going to throw the sickle. So he's going to.
Rude.
No, exactly. Unless. So I think just going to stay put and be ready to attack anything if it comes. No, take the dodge action because there's nothing that's immediately in range. 355.
I'm kind of out of first thoughts, so yeah, I'm just going to take another couple of shots at the big plant creature.
Yeah, go for it.
So, first attack is a dirty 20 to hit.
Right.
And second one is 14.
The 14 doesn't quite make it.
Okay. And then, so that's 4, so 9 plus 7, so 16, and 17 points of damage.
Oh, are you still restrained?
Oh, so I am, yes.
You can stick with that if you want me to roll with disadvantage on those.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the total damage, just so we remember it? Just in case.
17.
17, cool. I have that much just in case. But yeah, roll. In fact, you rolled.
So I failed one of them anyway.
Fine, you failed one. Roll the second one with disadvantage.
So that's a
we can just treat those first 2 rolls. Whatever. We'll see what happens. Go ahead and roll.
So sorry, say again.
I was gonna say we can treat those first 2 rolls as one roll together.
As one. Okay,
so you roll twice from one and take the low.
So I've just rolled 16 twice, which is 24.
Yeah, that's great. So that's 17 damage on that hit, and it is looking very rough. Like again, you get this effectively. You're not sure whether this is some effect of the creature itself, or whether this is a randomness of how you've been attacking it. But it's been whittled back. Parts of it have come away, but it's going very much shaped down to this core with this pseudo eye. And there is a sense as it's losing its integrity, losing the mass around it, it's sort of dragging down more. There's a sense of sort of bulging forward, like there's something within it that is slowly stretching towards the ground as it loses its integrity. 352, anything else?
Nope. I'm good.
Barda.
I'm going to bonus action play now, Warrior, just to get some extra damage on the next attack.
It's the one that does extra force damage.
Yeah, so it turns all the next attack into all force damage and then pluses an extra d8. And then I'm just going to roll twice to attack it.
All right.
Nice.
Because I got 2 attacks.
Oh, we should have given. No, Torsten didn't use that this time. It's fine. No, Torsten. Ow! I just stabbed myself with a pen. That was good. I was gesturing so animatedly, I pulled the lid off and stabbed my hand like directly with the pen, just to simulate that combat experience. I forgot to give 355 advantage from Torsten having. No, I should have been to Valka actually. Anyway,
that's Valka.
Yeah, we didn't apply it. We did disadvantage because of the throwing. Sorry about that. I'm happy to give it to you now because
I'll happily take.
Yeah.
Advantage.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. I'll remember on the turns of earlier.
So that's a 19.
Yeah.
That'll definitely hit for the first attack. And then second attack was a 19 again.
Cool.
Sweet.
2 hits.
So the first attack does a d6 and 2 d8s. So that's 3, 6, 10, 13 points of damage in the first attack.
Got it. Yeah, marked on.
And then 9, 16 points of damage on the second.
Oh, so close. Tantalizing.
Oh no. Oh.
Close to what, George?
Well, exactly. That's the question, isn't it? What? Anything else? Is that your turn?
Yeah, that's all I can do.
I never mean that passively aggressively, by the way. Sometimes feel like, is that it? Is that it? No, I just like giving people a chance to say. It is Torsten next. Torsten will do the same thing again and actually go try and remember the next attack roll to have advantage. Yes, Veracity. You are grappled and restrained by a tendril.
We're getting into serious patterns of Veracity, which is going to do something sensible like healing and then going, or I could just set it on fire.
Yeah, much better.
It's looking really unwell, right? And
Very unwell.
Bjorka healed himself and Veracity can hang on for a little bit longer. So I would like to cast Scorching Ray at 3rd level.
All right. Yeah.
Which means I get 4 rays of fire, an extra d8 on the first hit because Sparky's up, and advantage from Torsten, right?
Wow.
Yes, all of those things are true.
Okay.
It's also
are you still with the Doge? Do you get an extra hit point?
I got grappled, so I don't know.
You have a moved spot, so if the dog is still where it was, you still can still get it. Yeah.
Great, then yes, please can I have a d6 to start?
Take 3.
I'll mention this now because just to add to the list of modifiers affecting this particular roll, but the Watcher has fire resistance, but...
No, it doesn't because I have a feat. Because I took a feat. Sorry, I'm so excited.
This is good. It occurred to me like, oh yes, it has. Oh yeah, wait, no.
So, yes, I have a feat that means spells I cast ignore resistance to fire damage.
There we go. So
Because
you
I
have
wanted
all of
to
those
lean
dice
into fire
and
theme.
overcome its fire. Yeah, fair enough.
Right, so first time is advantage.
Yes.
What do I add? I'm getting so excited. I should actually pay
Should
attention.
say it next to the spell.
Yes, I know. I clicked off it to see your face, and then
Steak.
+8, so that is a 23 to hit.
Yeah, it's...
Okay, and then that's 2d6 on the first one. Do you mind if I do attack damage? Just
whichever way you want, but yes. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
So the first one, okay, that's that, and then I use my d8 from Sparky. Thank you very much. That's an 8, so that is 16 points of damage on the first one.
Nice. On the first one.
Yes, I have another 3.
You're going to need to do the second one, at least, but I feel like just the
That's
second
a natural 20.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Even
Really?
more feel like
Just keep going, just for a little bit.
And then 15 on the second one.
That is enough. So, your second ray strikes the Watcher in this mass on the ceiling. This bit that's been dangling down finally just tears free. It's almost like something being vomited up out of the stomach of this thing. It doesn't have a stomach, it's a fungus. But this slimy mass descends and falls to the ground and slowly unfurls, not that slowly, it's in the middle of battle, but stands up, and it is a humanoid. It is a large humanoid, spore-covered thing, comparable to the mushroom creatures you've been fighting, but much smaller, denser fungus growing all across. It is carpeted with this stuff. It is comparable in size to an ogre, the shambling mounds, the things you've seen previously. It is a hulking mass that stands now on its own 2 feet, the studio eye dragged down with it, and faces you all, which we'll pick up next time. Middle of a spell no less, but we've activated the Watcher's mythic trait, and we will see what that means in full force at the beginning of next session. Yeah, great job, everybody. Genuinely great. And yes, we will resume the other 2 missiles from this spell at the start of next session, coming in hot. Yeah,
mad.
That was great. Genuinely very pleased with you all and how that went. Yeah, good, because it's a tough fight, and you played it very, very well. And so
God, all of your cliffhangers just are, every episode is
Every single time.
gets me. Everyone.
That's really good to hear. Thank you, lovely players, for an excellent fight, and thank you everyone in chat for being there. Thank you for everyone who wasn't in chat for watching. It's really nice to have you here. Thank you to everyone who's watching this in the future, from on the video on demand and podcast and elsewhere. Yes, we have been Rolled Together RPG. Thank you for joining us. We are here every Monday, 6 to 9 p.m. UK time. That's 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific, where we're doing this show. We've got 2 more episodes. God, we've got 2 more episodes to land this thing. Lots of cool stuff still ahead, I assure you. So please join us next week and the week after that, and then we will update you with what comes next. That's really cool. We have shows on Tuesdays, 7 to 10 p.m. UK time, same place, twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg, twitch.tv/D&D, and that is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. We are doing the 2nd episode of Windfall in Waterdeep. I hope I've got that correct, because I've become combat. Yes, check that out. Please do. It's shaping up really nicely. You found us on Twitch already. You can find all these episodes on YouTube. You can find them on podcasts. Just search Roll Together RPG everywhere. Find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Yes, also we have a Patreon, so do come and check us out there. Join the growing D20 Club, help support the show, our other shows, the whole sort of thing we do, and help us build towards new tiers with that. Thank you again to our sponsors, Elderwood Academy, Hero Forge, Ultra Pro. You've got just probably a bit more time to go and try and win something in the chat for Ultra Pro. But thank you to all of them. Thank you to our supporters, D&D Beyond, of course, the overlay on the left if you want to check out anything. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, Warriors of Waterdeep, Level Up Dice. I think that's everything. I'm exhausted now. That was a great combat. Thank you again to the magnificent players for playing it so well, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, George.
Bye-bye.
Bye. 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 Bye.